As usual, a speeding truck appears out of nowhere, about to run over a young guy on the street. This time he finds himself in an ancient prison cell as a guard approaches him. The guard tells him to eat his last meal since he won't be eating easily after this, then walks off muttering that the kid shouldn't have offended such an important figure. The young man reveals his name is Shen Ming and he transmigrated into this world, the Dezing dynasty, after that car crash, but his start was pure tragedy. His mother died in childbirth and his father passed away early on. And on top of that, his greedy second uncle bribed corrupt officials to throw him in prison just to seize the family fortune. He was sentenced to exile in Xiongju province for border military service. Suddenly, an inmate in the next cell calls out, remarking that someone seems in a huge rush to see Shen Ming dead. Shen Ming asks what he means by that. The inmate explains that the roast chicken he was served is actually the execution chicken given before the martial arts trial, and whoever survives the trial gets promoted to a rank 3 warrior. He adds that someone as frail as Shen Ming would never volunteer to fight beasts, meaning someone clearly rigged this to get him killed. Shen Ming realizes his uncle didn't just want his inheritance, he wanted him wiped out for good. Right at that moment, a system interface pops up, informing him of a copyable talent, and that extracting it requires physical contact with the target and spending 1,000 points. The interface reveals that the neighboring inmate possesses a white-grade talent, peak physical fitness. Shen Ming is thrilled, realizing the heavens haven't abandoned him, since with this power he won't have to fear facing the beasts anymore. Shen Ming hands the chicken over to the inmate to thank him for the intel, saying that since he's doomed tomorrow anyway, he might as well do a good deed. The inmate takes the chicken but refuses to accept it for free, offering to teach Shen Ming a sword technique in exchange. As they pass the chicken, their hands touch, and a notification flashes confirming the talent was successfully copied and the system upgraded. The updated interface displays Shen Ming's stats along with his new talent, intermediate physical fitness. Shen Ming memorizes the sword technique, running through the moves over and over in his mind. The next day, he and dozens of other prisoners are led into a massive arena to serve as live entertainment for the spectating soldiers. Up in the stands, a spectator spots a pretty boy among the prisoners and jokingly suggests betting on him to win. A woman replies that she won't waste her money on him, feeling it's a pity that such good looks will be destroyed so soon. Shen Ming suddenly senses danger and notices an old man in the arena who has a danger sense talent. The system reveals this old guy is a level 12 mountain hunter, skilled with crossbows and gifted with a sense for danger. Shen Ming realizes that copying this talent would be incredibly useful. A guard announces the start of the trial, ordering the prisoners to pick their weapons. The crowd mocks Shen Ming for choosing a heavy greatsword, laughing that even a rank 3 warrior could only swing it a few times, calling him an idiot. But Shen Ming is fully confident that between his boosted physique and his sword technique, he can take on the beasts. When the gate opens, 2 rhino beasts charge into the arena, catching a guard off guard as he wonders why an extra monster was released. A bettor in the crowd screams in fury, accusing the organizers of cheating and slamming his money pouch to the ground in disgust. Shen Ming realizes his uncle didn't just bribe the jailer, but also paid off the trial proctor to ensure his death, so he decides to show them what a real comeback looks like. With a single leap, he pounces on both rhino beasts and slashes them down in one clean strike. A system screen pops up, notifying him that he successfully killed both beasts and earned 4 talent points. The guard is left in complete shock, unable to believe this weak-looking kid just took down both monsters in a single blow. Meanwhile, the man who bet on Shen Ming celebrates wild with joy, shouting that he put all his money on him. The old man comments on Shen Ming's insane raw power, noting that he hasn't even mastered formal martial arts yet. Up on the observation balcony, a female commander in blue armor mocks another officer, pointing out that his prison holds such a rare genius, yet he still complains about being poor. The other officer replies that he didn't expect this, but a single prisoner won't change anything. She cuts him off, ordering him to take care of it and warning him against pulling cheap tricks on this guy in the future. The officer reluctantly agrees, then summons a burly man named Wu Feng and assigns him the task. After passing the trial, Shen Ming is officially promoted to the rank of a rank 3 soldier. But as he prepares to leave the arena, he's blocked by the very proctor his uncle bribed. The man starts provoking Shen Ming, asking why he didn't leave one of the beasts alive, and claiming capturing them live is extremely difficult. Shen Ming realizes this is just another dirty setup to frame him. When the official tries to attack Shen Ming, Wu Feng, the same cellmate who helped him before, steps in and grabs his arm. Wu Feng mocks the proctor, saying he only knows how to act tough against prisoners, while the furious official snaps back that it's none of his business and he was just teaching them discipline. Wu Feng flashes his command token, telling him the commander ordered that passing prisoners are not to be touched since they are now soldiers of the 8th Battalion. The official walks away muttering curses, knowing he'll have to deal with Shen Ming later. Shen Ming thanks Wu Feng for backing him up again. Wu Feng tells him he was just following orders, then warns him about a guy named Liu Yunji, a rank 4 powerhouse, advising him to stay alert. Shen Ming thanks Wu Feng for the warning, knowing full well he desperately needs to grow stronger. While thinking about the old man he saw earlier, a fat soldier steps up and mocks him. The soldier asks Shen Ming why he's loafing around instead of doing his duty. Shen Ming checks him and discovers he possesses an intermediate stamina talent, pleased with his good fortune. The soldier accuses Shen Ming of breaking the rules and decides to teach him a lesson. When the soldier takes a swing, Shen Ming dodges effortlessly. Shen Ming quips that he was never a diligent student growing up. At that moment, he successfully copies the peak stamina talent from the soldier after spending 1,000 talent points. Right after, he drops the soldier with a single punch. The soldier begs for mercy, and Shen Ming demands to know who sent him. The soldier confesses that Commander Liu sent him. Shen Ming realizes it's that guy again, resolving to get rid of him as soon as possible. After searching the camp, Shen Ming finally finds the old man he was looking for during new recruit training. Some soldiers are complaining about the drills, calling them completely pointless. Shen Ming sees the old man standing alone and decides to find a way to get close to him. But before he can approach, an emergency alarm bell suddenly rings out, disrupting his plans. The recruits wonder in confusion why the bell is ringing now, with some guessing the northern barbarians have launched an attack. Another soldier clarifies that it's due to massive flooding in Pingzhou province that submerged several cities, prompting someone to ask what that has to do with the border army. A commander steps onto the stage and calls for quiet. Shen Ming's system reveals this commander possesses a rare blue-grade talent, exceptional body cultivation. Shen Ming recognizes it as a cultivation talent, but feels disappointed since he needs to acquire 2 more white-grade talents before he can upgrade his system to copy it. Even so, he decides he has to find a way to get closer to this commander. The commander announces that beasts have overrun the Xiongju border and they need volunteers. He promises that anyone who passes tomorrow's test will receive a powerful training technique called the soldier's body art. This announcement fires up the soldiers, as this technique is practiced by top military experts and is the key to becoming a true martial artist. Shen Ming realizes acquiring this technique will give his strength a massive boost, so he walks up to the old man and enthusiastically slaps a hand on his shoulder. At that moment, his system successfully copies the Mountain Hunter talent from the old man for 1,000 talent points. Annoyed, the old man asks Shen Ming why he's been staring at him ever since the martial arts trial. Shen Ming plays dumb, jokingly saying he was just admiring his solid build and wondering if he knew any legendary combat arts. The old man tells him not to get overambitious, warning him that the written exam and endurance test will be brutal. The system screen displays Shen Ming's new talents: intermediate physical fitness, intermediate stamina, and mountain hunter, with the talent copier upgrade progress sitting at 75%. Shen Ming replies confidently that his talents seem more than enough. After the old man tells him to know his limits, Shen Ming proposes a wager. The bet is that if he passes the test, he'll stop bothering the old man, but if he does, the old man has to do one favor for him. The man, introducing himself as Jiang, agrees to the bet, saying he'll do whatever Shen Ming asks if he actually passes. Shen Ming seals the deal, certain that someone with the Mountain Hunter talent is definitely no ordinary guy. He's confident he'll win thanks to his 3 talents, considering this an absolute win. He then teases old Jiang for participating himself after advising him against it, to which the old man retorts that he's free to do whatever he wants. Seeing someone as cautious as old Jiang join, the trial only deepens Shen Ming's suspicions about his true identity. His suspicions are further confirmed during the written exam, where the mountain hunter talent allows him to effortlessly understand beast knowledge that once seemed completely foreign. Shen Ming speeds through the written exam and turns in his paper. The proctor remarks that even though the written test accounts for only 25% of the total score, passing requires at least 85 points, asking if he's really sure about submitting it so quickly. Shen Ming confirms he's totally done. Old Jiang scoffs, saying he barely managed to finish himself, so there's no way Shen Ming could beat him. The proctor looks over Shen Ming's paper in utter disbelief. He shouts in shock that Shen Ming's answers match the model answer key perfectly. Up on the watchtower, the female commander spots Shen Ming again, surprised to see him in the trial. The other officer tells her the kid scored exceptionally on the written test, praising her sharp eye for talent. Intrigued, she asks for his name. The officer replies that his name is Shen Ming, a soldier from the 8th Battalion. She repeats the name, deciding to see what other surprises this kid has in store. Shen Ming breezes through the written exam. And the combat trial is no different, as he effortlessly slaughters several wolf-like beasts. Shock is written all over Old Jiang's face as he watches Shen Ming slice through 3 beasts with 0 effort. Jiang is completely baffled that Shen Ming is not only a skilled fighter, but also possesses beast knowledge rivaling his own, wondering when such a monster showed up in Xiongju. Shen Ming walks over, reminding him of their bet. Jiang swears he'll keep his word. The final trial is the endurance test, requiring participants to run laps around the arena carrying heavy weights. The pouring rain makes it even tougher, turning the ground to mud and weighing everyone down. The female commander notes that despite Shen Ming's frail frame, his stamina is surprisingly solid. The other officer suggests making a bet on the outcome. She agrees but shocks him by betting on Shen Ming to lose. The officer is surprised by her bet, especially since she seemed so fond of him. She explains that things aren't always what they seem, pointing out that Shen Ming's pace is visibly slowing down. The rain pours heavier, making the run even harder for Shen Ming. Old Jiang advises him to give up, reassuring him there's no shame in it. Shen Ming refuses to quit, determined to show them what he's really capable of. He activates his intermediate stamina talent through the system. Energy surges through his body and he starts sprinting at breakneck speed, blowing past the competition with ease. Old Jiang is dumbfounded, wondering how Shen Ming still has the stamina to accelerate after all this time. The other competitors begin collapsing from exhaustion, unable to believe what they're seeing. The officer chuckles that the female commander miscalculated, admitting he's just as surprised by Shen Ming's stamina. The commander wonders if he can really keep going all the way to the finish line. As time passes, runners drop one after another. Powered by his system, Shen Ming feels like his energy is limitless, sprinting on until the proctor stops him and declares him passed. Shen Ming tells the proctor he can still keep running. The proctor looks at him in utter disbelief, saying there's literally no one left in the arena, then awards Shen Ming a perfect score on the endurance test. The soldiers marvel at him getting full marks again, realizing he scored a clean sweep across all tests. They wonder who this monster is that suddenly appeared among them. Up in the watchtower, the officer remarks that not even a rank 3 martial artist has stamina like that, asking the commander if she's ever witnessed anything like this. The female commander starts tearing up, grieving the loss of all her hard-earned savings. The officer looks at her in shock and lets out a heavy sigh. The trials come to an end, and with perfect scores across all 3 tests, Shen Ming takes first place. Shen Ming notices everyone looking at him in awe except Old Jiang, who's glaring bitterly, and one particular woman. His system reveals she possesses 2 insane talents, a purple-grade sword spirit and another gold-grade talent, and she's staring him down with pure hatred. Shen Ming is shocked to see someone with 2 high-tier talents, but wonders why on earth she hates him so much. In truth, she's furious because she lost all her money on his blowout victory, and she's determined to get it back. Regaining her composure, she steps in front of the recruits and introduces herself as Tang Mingling, Deputy Commander of the Investigation Division at Yan Soldier Palace. Shen Ming is stunned by her beauty and voice, admitting he never saw someone that gorgeous even in his past life. But he snaps out of it when he catches her sharp, deadly gaze. Tang Mingling explains that the Investigation Division is on an urgent mission, short on manpower, and heading to Pingzhu soon. She announces she's here to thank the volunteers joining the beast hunt in northern Xiongju. Afterward, the officer announces that volunteers get 2 days of rest before field training begins, wishing them luck in mastering the soldier's body art. After the speech, the officer asks Tang Mingling if she has anything to add. She calls out Shen Ming and orders him to follow her. Shen Ming gets nervous, worried she might be planning to punish him. The other soldiers murmur about how lucky Shen Ming is, but another soldier snaps that being jealous won't help. If they scored full marks like him, they'd get the same treatment. Old Jiang mutters that things are getting interesting. Out of nowhere, Tang Mingling attacks Shen Ming, but he barely manages to block her strike. Shen Ming asks why she's attacking him. She screams at him that she lost her entire dowry savings because of him. Shen Ming is completely dumbstruck by her outburst. She tells him she heard from the officer that he's a total martial arts rookie. Shen Ming confirms it, explaining he only learned it to defend himself. She praises his talent, then warns him to be extra careful during the upcoming hunt, revealing that a Tier 7 beast has attacked Pingzhou province. She explains that since all Investigation Division forces were deployed to Pingzhou, they had to rely on volunteers. Then she asks Shen Ming if he has enemies in the army. Shen Ming is surprised she already knows. She tells him she likes his potential, and if he reaches a certain level in the future, she might consider bringing him into the Investigation Division. But she advises him to find a powerful ally for now. Shen Ming replies that he only knows an old man and a rank 1 soldier. She tells him she can't help him with that, and that staying alive is one of the requirements to join her squad. Then she whispers that Commander Li Qingyan's mother is celebrating her birthday soon, giving him an idea. Over the following days, Shen Ming grinds hard on the soldier's body art, significantly leveling up his physical strength. Then the hunting squad's training kicks off. The instructor announces training will be limited to the outer perimeter of the mountain to get them used to fighting in the wild. Shen Ming had originally planned to hunt a purple sable as a birthday gift for the commander's mother, but realizes the outer area won't be enough. He asks the instructor how to join the scout team. The instructor replies that given his top scores, he can join if he can shoot down a cloud falcon soaring in the sky. Shen Ming accepts immediately. Old Jiang scoffs, asking if he even knows how to shoot a crossbow. Shen Ming fires back that they haven't settled their previous bet yet and proposes a new one. The deal is, if he hits the falcon, Old Jiang has to accompany him on the scout mission, and if he misses, their previous bet is cancelled. Old Jiang is certain of his victory since the falcon is 300 paces away, the absolute maximum range of the crossbow, and he's never seen Shen Ming use a bow before. Jiang agrees to the bet, and the instructor offers to be the witness. Jiang adds another condition: if Shen Ming fails, he has to do a favor for him. Shen Ming agrees, assuring him he won't be getting that chance. Thanks to his talent, Shen Ming snipes the falcon with pinpoint accuracy. The soldiers cheer at his sharpshooting, seeing him as a huge asset to the hunting squad. They tease Old Jiang for taking another loss. The instructor announces that Shen Ming and Old Jiang will go on the scouting mission into the wild. The two head out with Old Jiang fuming over falling into Shen Ming's trap again, and Shen Ming successfully catches a purple sable. But just as they're about to turn back, they find themselves surrounded by a bizarre beast. Old Jiang explains that this is a Tier 1 beast known as a one-horned ape, and it won't be easy to handle. Then another beast emerges, a Tier 9 armored bear. Both of them wonder why such a formidable monster is roaming this area. Before a third beast, a Tier 2 monster, crawls out. Old Jiang realizes they don't stand a chance, and orders Shen Ming to retreat immediately. As Shen Ming stuffs the purple sable into his pouch, he finds a strange glowing stone. Old Jiang tells him that's a musk stone, which explains why high-tier beasts are swarming them. Shen Ming realizes the stone attracts monsters, and that Liu Yunji slipped it into his bag for revenge. Old Jiang tells him it's too late, they've already been spotted and fighting is their only option. Feeling guilty, Shen Ming tells Old Jiang to run while he holds off the beast. But Old Jiang bolts instantly, yelling back that he'll burn some joss paper for him after he dies. Shen Ming gets furious at his cowardice, but Old Jiang suddenly rushes back to back him up. Shen Ming jokes that he was planning to stay but changed his mind. The two trade insults while sprinting away, as Shen Ming warns Old Jiang about the monster hot on their heels. Shen Ming realizes a clash is unavoidable and steels himself to fight. Old Jiang joins him, admitting he owes him one. Old Jiang strikes the beast, freezing it with a single hit before completely wiping it out. Shen Ming is dumbfounded by Old Jiang's strength, wondering how on earth he defeated a Tier 9 beast that easily. Old Jiang tells him to keep this secret, suggesting they bury the carcass and bounce. Shen Ming jumps on the leverage, pointing out that Old Jiang clearly doesn't want his cover blown and wondering how to exploit this. Shen Ming realizes this is the perfect chance to farm more talent points. Old Jiang starts sweating over what Shen Ming has in mind. Over the next few days, Shen Ming uses the musk stone to lure in beasts, while Old Jiang takes care of slaying them, allowing Shen Ming to farm a massive number of talent points. Finally, Old Jiang collapses from pure exhaustion and begs for a break. Shen Ming asks what he wants to talk about. Old Jiang wants to know about Shen Ming's enemies, pointing out that using a priceless musk stone means they're definitely not ordinary folks. Shen Ming gets hung up on how valuable the stone is, ticking off Old Jiang, who tells him to focus on what actually matters. Shen Ming tells him it's better if he doesn't know too much, and all he needs to know is that his current enemy is Liu Yunji. Then he reminds him of their bet, asking him to save his life once if he gets attacked down the line. Old Jiang reluctantly agrees, promising to help Shen Ming just this one time if needed. Old Jiang chuckles, admitting he isn't used to this serious side of Shen Ming. Shen Ming then asks him to help process the sable pelt. After training wraps up, Shen Ming and Old Jiang keep hunting purple sables and racking up talent points. By the time they finally return to camp, Old Jiang is completely exhausted. Old Jiang asks Shen Ming what he's going to do next, and Shen Ming replies that he's heading over to check on Wu Feng. On his way, he notices a fresh batch of prisoners undergoing the martial arts trial. Old Jiang doesn't care and leaves. Shen Ming wasn't interested at first, but gets caught off guard once he looks at the inmates. His system reveals they possess a green-grade talent called Bronze Skin and Iron Bones, granting massive physical and defensive power. Shen Ming realizes this is a golden chance to upgrade his talent copier. He walks over to the group and greets the supervisor in charge, Zhao. Zhao asks how his training went, and Shen Ming tells him it was a total success. Shen Ming remarks on how solid the new inmates look, walking up to one of them and placing a hand on his shoulder. Right at that moment, he successfully copies the talent and upgrades his talent copier to level 2, unlocking blue and purple talent copying while doubling his daily talent point gains. Zhao tells him to go get some rest while he takes the prisoners to the training grounds. Shen Ming agrees and turns to leave, mentioning he's going to grab a drink with Wu Feng. But Zhao stops him, warning him that Wu Feng is in serious trouble. Shen Ming asks what happened, suspecting Liu Yunji is behind it. Zhao confirms his suspicions, but before he can explain, Commander Li interrupts them, ordering Zhao to take the prisoners to the training ground immediately. Zhao reluctantly obeys. The commander approaches Shen Ming, mentioning he heard about his successful training. Shen Ming thanks the commander, saying he was just doing his duty. The commander tells him he has good news, an invitation to his mother's birthday banquet in 2 months. He explains this is an exclusive invite ordinary soldiers never get. Shen Ming realizes the commander is trying to win him over, but wonders why he didn't step in to help Wu Feng, suspecting Liu Yunji must have a backer even stronger than the commander. Shen Ming thanks him and presents the purple sable pelts he hunted as a gift for the commander's mother. The commander is stunned by how many pelts there are, admitting he barely caught a few even with a team of hunters. Shen Ming says he's glad the commander likes the gift. The commander warns Shen Ming not to be reckless, cautioning that it could end up hurting his friends. Shen Ming realizes the commander is hinting that Wu Feng got hurt because of him. The commander explains that Liu Yunji used his connections to transfer Shen Ming to his squad, making it difficult to intervene. He then hands over healing pills to treat Wu Feng. Shen Ming wonders if this is all, and whether Wu Feng's injuries will just be swept under the rug. The commander replies that Wu Feng was reckless and that what happened was a lesson for him. He advises Shen Ming not to make the same mistake. Shen Ming is furious, resolved not to let this slide. The commander hands Shen Ming a letter, asking about his connection to Tang Mingling. Shen Ming replies they only met once. The commander then tells him about an upcoming martial arts tournament, promising to make him one of his personal guards if he wins. As the commander walks away, Shen Ming feels a tap on his shoulder. At that moment, he successfully copies the body cultivation genius talent from the commander, spending 4,000 talent points. He now has 5 talents, including the blue-grade talent he had been eyeing all along. Shen Ming feels satisfied, knowing he has enough talents for now and just needs to level up his cultivation. He opens the letter from the commander and finds it's from Tang Mingling, warning him about upcoming beast unrest and advising him to boost his strength and stay alert. Shen Ming isn't entirely sure of her motives, but knows he needs to grow stronger to face any coming threat, whether from the beasts or Liu Yunji, and avenge his boy Wu Feng. Over the following days, Shen Ming trains hard with his new talent, while old Jiang teaches him a special beast-burying technique to absorb energy. Thanks to the training, he finally breaks through to the Chi Fighter realm. Old Jiang praises him, admitting he's never seen anyone pull that off in a single day. Shen Ming thanks old Jiang for the guidance. But old Jiang is blown away when he learns Shen Ming reached rank 2 in less than a month. Shen Ming asks to keep training, and old Jiang reluctantly agrees. As time passes, Shen Ming keeps leveling up right until the year-end martial arts tournament arrives. Shen Ming feels disappointed that none of the participants have new talents worth copying. The instructor warns him his opponent won't be a pushover, since he's facing a soldier from Commander Yang's unit. Up in the watchtower, a nobleman orders his fighter to attack Shen Ming ruthlessly without hesitation. Commander Li announces that Shen Ming's opponent is one of his own personal guards, and if Shen Ming defeats him, he'll accept him as a personal guard. Shen Ming thanks the commander and promises to go all out. Shen Ming discovers his opponent also possesses the intermediate physical fitness talent, meaning he can upgrade his own. Meanwhile, Liu Yunji tells the nobleman that Shen Ming is getting cozy with Commander Lei, and things might get complicated, to which the nobleman replies that the kid has to survive this fight first. The crowd of soldiers is hyped for the clash, fully aware of the rivalry between both commanders. Someone mocks Shen Ming, pointing out it's only been 2 months since he got the soldier's body art, and that there's no way he's already a chief fighter, assuming he's just fighting to catch the commander's eye. The fighter warns Shen Ming that he won't be showing any mercy. Shen Ming realizes his opponent is going for the kill, so he decides to show no mercy either, activating his bronze skin and iron bones talent. As their fists collide, Shen Ming successfully copies the opponent's talent, upgrading his physical fitness talent from white to green. Shen Ming knocks his opponent down in a single strike, leaving him completely stunned by his strength. The fighter wonders how on earth Shen Ming survived his full-power attack as a rank 1 fighter. The crowd erupts in shock that Shen Ming one-shotted a rank 1 warrior, especially since he only started training recently. A veteran soldier remarks that Shen Ming showed crazy endurance during the previous test, and today proves he's exceptional with a bright future ahead. Commander Li expresses his admiration for Shen Ming's power, offering to make him his personal guard right after the hunting mission wraps up. Furious that his plan failed, the nobleman resolves never to let Shen Ming join Commander Li. Liu Yunji offers to handle things personally. Liu Yunji tells the commander that despite Shen Ming's strength, he lacks discipline and will only cause trouble as a personal guard. Commander Li snaps back, warning Liu Yunji that he's crossing the line. The commander asks Shen Ming for his thoughts. Shen Ming drops to his knees and formally accuses Liu Yunji of corruption. Shen Ming accuses Liu Yunji of embezzling soldiers' pay and demands an investigation. Liu Yunji denies it, claiming Shen Ming is slandering a superior officer. Commander Li scolds Liu Yunji, asking if he still respects him as a commander. Liu Yunji apologizes immediately. Shen Ming declares that as Commander Li's personal guard, an attack on him is an attack on the commander himself. He accuses Liu Yunji of repeatedly attacking him, questioning if someone else put him up to it. Liu Yunji stammers, unable to answer. Another commander, the border commander, steps in to smooth things over, explaining the tournament was just some casual entertainment after the military inspection. Everyone bows in respect. Shen Ming wonders how someone without any talent became a border commander, concluding he must have gotten the gig through pure connections. The border commander dismisses the crowd, declaring the tournament over. But Liu Yunji stops him, demanding a duel with Shen Ming. The instructor scoffs, calling it disgraceful for a rank 4 fighter to challenge a rookie like Shen Ming. The nobleman backs Liu Yunji's request, arguing that Shen Ming deserves punishment for disrespecting superiors. Commander Li asks Shen Ming if he accepts the challenge, assuring him he'll back him up if he refuses. Shen Ming feigns fear. The border commander steps in again and allows the duel, on the condition that it won't be to the death. Shen Ming sees that the border commander is clearly biased and is the mastermind behind everything, steeling himself for the fight. He accepts the challenge, but with a condition: if he holds out for 10 seconds, he wins. And during those 10 seconds, there are no restrictions on the fight. Commander Li agrees to the terms, promising to step in and protect him if Liu Yunji tries any dirty tricks after time runs out. Liu Yunji is dead sure he can kill Shen Ming within 10 seconds, already planning to squeeze more money out of the Shen family afterward. The duel begins and Shen Ming hides his true strength at first, casually dodging Liu Yunji's strikes while taunting him. Shen Ming mocks Liu Yunji, laughing that he couldn't land a single hit after 9 moves and accusing him of buying his rank. Enraged, Liu Yunji demands he stop dodging and fight him head-on. Shen Ming agrees, then activates all his talents at once. Liu Yunji attacks with everything he has, but Shen Ming blocks it effortlessly and knocks him flat with a single blow. The crowd is stunned, unable to believe Shen Ming took down Liu Yunji that easily. The soldiers cheer for Shen Ming's victory, venting their hatred for Liu Yunji, who constantly abused them. A soldier realizes Shen Ming was hiding his real strength the whole time and is already a rank 1 chief fighter. Old Jiang smirks, knowing they'd lose their minds if they knew Shen Ming's actual strength. The instructor now understands why both commanders took a liking to Shen Ming. Commander Li mocks the rival commander, saying that even if he tried to tempt Shen Ming, it wouldn't work. Liu Yunji snaps out of his daze, and Shen Ming asks him how defeat tastes. Furious, Liu Yunji tries to attack Shen Ming again, but halts when Commander Li steps in. Commander Li chews out Liu Yunji for daring to attack a soldier in his camp. Liu Yunji apologizes on the spot. Shen Ming walks up to Liu Yunji and mockingly asks if he enjoyed the slap, warning him that their score isn't settled yet. With the tournament wrapped up, Shen Ming is officially promoted to Commander Li's personal guard, though he still has to take part in the hunting mission. Shen Ming and Old Jiang continue their daily training in the wild, and 3 months later, Shen Ming hits rank 4 chief fighter. Old Jiang praises him, admitting he's never seen anyone advance this fast. Shen Ming credits his talents. Old Jiang tells him that with his current power, he'll be totally safe as long as he stays away from Devil's Sword Valley, suggesting they start fresh training tomorrow. Old Jiang suggests splitting up and heading back to camp, telling the others they were scouting together. Shen Ming agrees, but Old Jiang mentions he knows Shen Ming has his secrets. He won't pry but warns him to stay alert, and Shen Ming thanks him for looking out. After parting ways, Shen Ming continues his patrol, but quickly hears horse hooves and hides immediately. From his hiding spot, he spots Liu Yunji secretly meeting with men from the Mubing Kingdom. Shen Ming realizes a major conspiracy is underway. Suddenly, he senses danger and barely dodges an arrow aimed at his shoulder. Liu Yunji and his men emerge, surrounding Shen Ming. Shen Ming confronts them, calling out Liu Yunji for treason. Liu Yunji scoffs, saying even if he knows, it changes nothing since he's already as good as dead. Liu Yunji orders his men to attack. Shen Ming takes down 2 men with ease. Liu Yunji is shocked by Shen Ming's strength. Shen Ming asks him if he ever saw this coming. Liu Yunji sneers that dropping 2 men means nothing. But before he can finish his sentence, Shen Ming severs his hand and his men flee. Shen Ming grabs Liu Yunji and demands to know who's pulling the strings. Liu Yunji confesses that the Shen family ordered it, but Shen Ming ends him before he can finish talking. Shen Ming finds a letter containing a map of the camp's defenses. Realizing how serious this is, he decides to consult Old Jiang, wondering how Liu Yunji got so bold and suspecting Commander Yang or the border commander are involved. Old Jiang tells him this is dangerous business and advises him not to tell a soul. He then reveals his true identity as an operative from the capital's Dragon Suppression Division, here to investigate traitors, making Shen Ming realize he indirectly helped him. Old Jiang agrees, promising to log the achievement and help him join the Dragon Suppression Division in the future. Shen Ming says he prefers a tangible reward, sharing his story of how his uncle framed him and sent him here, asking for help clearing his name. Old Jiang agrees, inviting him for a drink to celebrate. Relieved, Shen Ming heads back to camp with Old Jiang. Shen Ming and Old Jiang arrive at a tavern. where a girl named Wanwen greets them and heads off to fetch their drinks. Old Jiang points out that the girl clearly has a crush on Shen Ming. Shen Ming tells him to quit teasing, explaining he doesn't want to bring her trouble given his current situation. Shen Ming adds that he sees her like a sister. The tavern keeper warns him not to say that in front of her since she really likes him. Shen Ming thanks the man, promising to make things clear to Wanwen. Wanwen serves the drinks. Old Jiang tells him he should just marry her and settle down in the camp. Shen Ming scolds him, then asks about the falcon he sent earlier, guessing he was contacting the Dragon Suppression Division, and asks when they'll arrive. Old Jiang compliments his sharp wit. Just then, a strange man walks into the tavern. Shen Ming's system reveals the man is a frost hunter, with talents similar to Old Jiang's plus cold resistance, making him wonder if he can fuse that talent with his own. The stranger asks Old Jiang if he found anything. Old Jiang says he found a few leads, handing over a letter with the intel he gathered and telling him to deliver it. As the man is about to leave, Shen Ming stops him and invites him for a drink. Old Jiang orders the man to leave. Old Jiang questions Shen Ming's weird behavior. Shen Ming explains he was just trying to help, and that Dragon Suppression Division members don't expose themselves easily. At that moment, his system successfully fuses both talents, granting him a new talent called Demon Hunter that massively boosts his danger sense. Shen Ming senses someone tailing them. He tells Old Jiang to stay calm, suggesting they step outside to deal with the problem away from the tavern. Old Jiang is surprised by Shen Ming's ability to spot a tail. Outside, a group of masked assassins is waiting for them. Old Jiang recognizes them from the Heavenly Murder Society. Shen Ming and Old Jiang easily take down the assassins. Shen Ming grabs one of the killers and demands his identity. Old Jiang tells him members of this society never betray their own. But when the assassin tries to attack Old Jiang, Shen Ming kills him instantly. Shen Ming checks on Old Jiang, who tells him to search the body for letters. Shen Ming finds a letter and some cash. Old Jiang pockets the money as compensation for his trouble. Old Jiang asks Shen Ming what's written in the letter. Shen Ming discovers that his second uncle sent the assassin, but the mission details were weird, initially an assassination order, later changed to simple tracking and surveillance. Old Jiang concludes they've been watched for a long time and worries his hidden strength and secrets have been blown, grumbling that things are getting messy. Shen Ming apologizes for dragging him into his mess, but suddenly discovers the letter also contains a martial arts technique called the breath concealment art. Old Jiang realizes this technique is how the assassins stalked them undetected, confirming training in this art is the only explanation. Jiang advises Shen Ming to master it, warning him to stay vigilant and never let anyone track him again. After the incident, Old Jiang becomes far more cautious and paranoid, constantly checking behind him whenever he steps out, and they spend days in mutual suspicion, often operating separately. But little did they expect, an order from instructor he would completely shatter this uneasy calm. The instructor introduces a man named Sun Ziyu, explaining he's the head of Commander Yang's personal guard, and was granted special approval to join their hunting squad, adding that Sun Ziyu will be joining their scout team from now on. Shen Ming immediately recognizes him as a lackey of the hostile Commander Yang. Old Jiang objects, explaining to the instructor that he and Shen Ming operate as the Vanguard Scout Unit. With great chemistry and coordination, and adding a stranger out of nowhere will do more harm than good. Sun Ziyu fires back that Old Jiang is overthinking, claiming he also comes from a hunting background, knows wilderness patrols inside out and won't be a burden. Old Jiang mocks him as an arrogant brat who doesn't know how things really work, challenging him to an archery contest and promising to accept him if he wins. Sun Ziyu accepts the challenge, and their contest begins with the goal of hitting a snow duck. Shen Ming is sure Old Jiang will take the win thanks to his mountain hunter talent, but is shocked when Sun Ziyu shoots his arrow first to intercept and shoot down Old Jiang's arrow mid-flight, winning the match with this dirty trick. Shen Ming is dumbfounded, and the soldiers shout in disbelief, calling out the crooked win as totally foul play, and agreeing Old Jiang was robbed, while Old Jiang yells at Sun Ziyu for cheating. Shen Ming protests to the instructor that Sun Ziyu broke the rules, but Sun Ziyu coldly responds that no rule prohibited winning this way, reminding the instructor that his assignment was ordered by the border commander and telling him to make the call. The instructor hesitates, caught in a bind. Shen Ming snaps, shouting at Sun Ziyu not to use the border commander's name to bully them, accusing him of turning his bow on a fellow soldier, a massive disgrace to the Dezing army, and reminding everyone their nation was built on martial strength where comrades trust each other with their lives, leaving no place for scum like him. The soldiers cheer in support of Shen Ming, calling Sun Ziyu a piece of trash, a disgrace to the border army, and a scumbag who will do anything to win. Unbothered, Sun Ziyu tells Shen Ming to cool off and proposes a match to settle this, but adds a wager if Shen Ming loses. He has to crawl between his legs. Shen Ming agrees but adds that if he wins, Sun Ziyu must crawl under old Jiang's legs to restore his honor, and Sun Ziyu accepts the bet. He then brags about being Commander Yang's head guard, a rank 5 chief fighter who can easily draw a 50-stone bow. Sneering at how he could ever lose to a lowly grunt and suggests another archery contest. Shen Ming refuses, calling it boring, and says if they're playing, they might as well raise the stakes. Sun Ziyu asks in confusion what he means. Shen Ming tells him they'll use the armored bear beast recently captured in the training arena, proposing they both fight the beast using only bows, with whoever kills it first taking the win. Sun Ziyu is shocked by the proposal, calling Shen Ming insane and explaining that facing an armored bear without peak chi cultivation is pure suicide, especially with only bows and arrows. Shen Ming dares him, saying if he's terrified, he should back out and forget about ever joining the scout squad. Old Jiang whispers in Shen Ming's ear, asking if he's really sure he can pull this off, and Shen Ming confidently replies that it's no problem. Sun Ziyu wonders what Shen Ming is plotting, knowing the kid is definitely weaker than him and guessing he's cooking up some trick, but decides not to care since having the armored bear kill Shen Ming completes his mission anyway. Word of the duel between Shen Ming and Sun Ziyu spreads like wildfire across the entire camp. Soldiers gather to watch the spectacle, packing the arena stands, with one soldier remarking he's seen rhino trials before, but fighting an armored bear directly with just a bow and arrow is completely unheard of. Another soldier wonders who this gutsy Shen Ming is, and how he dares to face an armored bear like that. Another explains he made a wager with Sun Ziyu, the guy who pulled that dirty arrow trick on his comrade, adding that Shen Ming is still only a rank 1 chief fighter, making this a guaranteed death sentence. The massive armored bear is unleashed into the arena, officially kicking off the duel between Shen Ming and Sun Ziyu. Thanks to his demon hunter talent, Shen Ming fires a volley of arrows targeting the bear's weak points with extreme precision. But Sun Ziyu has other plans. While Shen Ming is busy, Sun Ziyu fires a treacherous sneak attack arrow right at him. The spectators in the stands roar in outrage, wondering what kind of scumbag Sun Ziyu is to shoot a fellow soldier, branding him a disgrace to the northern border army. Wu Feng shouts furiously that none of Commander Yang's men are any good. Up in the watchtower, Commander Li mockingly asks Commander Yang if his men always have a habit of shooting their comrades in the back. Commander Yang coldly replies that instead of worrying about his men, he should focus on his own soldier, who is about to get mauled by the armored bear. At that critical second, with danger closing in from all sides, Shen Ming skillfully leaps onto the armored bear's back. He grips his bow in reverse, wraps the bowstring around the beast's neck, and yanks back hard, turning the bow into a makeshift steering rein and steering the berserk bear to crash right into a panicked Sun Ziyu. Sun Ziyu screams that Shen Ming is cheating as the bear slams him into the dirt. A soldier shouts in disgust that Sun Ziyu still has the nerve to claim cheating when Shen Ming fought the beast with honor while he was busy firing backstabbing arrows, questioning how he dares open his mouth. Wu Feng cheers for his friend's win, calling it the perfect payback and feeling immensely satisfied. Shen Ming leaps off the bear's back and aims his arrow straight at the monster's eye, ready for the killing blow. Commander Yang wonders what Shen Ming thinks he's doing, asking if he genuinely believes he can kill an armored bear with a single bow, calling it sheer madness. Commander Li shouts for Shen Ming to fall back, declaring him the winner since Sun Ziyu's bow snapped. Old Jiang also yells for him to pull back quickly so they can force Sun Ziyu to fulfill the humiliating bet. But Shen Ming draws his bow with full power and unleashes his arrow at the beast. The arrow pierces the armored bear's eye, triggering an electric explosion. Sun Ziyu watches in shock as the arrow streaks past him. Old Jiang is stunned, unable to believe Shen Ming actually won by literally piercing the armored bear's head with a single arrow. The instructor notices something crazy, realizing Shen Ming broke through to rank 2 of the Qi realm mid-battle, all within just 3 months. Commander Lee is impressed by the poetic line Shen Ming recited, praising its epic vibe and raw power. The soldiers erupt in cheers, amazed that he pulled off a breakthrough mid-fight and one-shotted a Tier 2 beast, commenting that Shen Ming's power is downright terrifying. Lying on the ground, Sun Ziyu realizes that if Shen Ming had aimed just a bit lower, he'd be dead meat right now. Shen Ming raises his bow in the air, declaring victory, but before he can force Sun Ziyu to fulfill the bet amid the roaring crowd, a new figure suddenly steps into the arena, silencing everyone instantly. The man calls Shen Ming by name, saying he remembers him and praises his incredible performance. Shen Ming wonders to himself if Judgment Day has arrived. But he's caught off guard when his system reveals this man possesses a rare purple-grade talent called Ming King Body. Shen Ming is shocked since this talent wasn't there the last time he met the commander, wondering why it's showing up now and suspecting if this commander is even the same guy he met before. The man brushes off Shen Ming's silence and asks about the poem he heard from him, praising its power and asking if he composed it himself. Commander Lee steps in, telling Shen Ming that the Grand Commander loves poetry, suggesting that since he's good at it, he should compose one dedicated to him. Commander Yang scoffs at the idea, mocking the notion of a prisoner like him writing poetry, then acts serious and brings up that Shen Ming's original charge was harassing women, which got him conscripted, asking if he even knows how to read, write, or compose poetry. The soldiers are shocked, wondering if that was really the charge that landed Shen Ming in the military. They can't believe it, doubting how a guy this brave and chivalrous could ever do something like that. Wu Feng shouts in his defense, insisting his friend was falsely accused. The Grand Commander shuts down the argument, saying he doesn't care about a man's past, and offers Shen Ming that if he can compose a satisfying poem on the spot, he'll grant him a small favor. Shen Ming realizes this is a golden opportunity. Once he stacks enough talent points, he can copy this overpowered talent, and as an Ice Guide transmigrator, reciting a poem is child's play. Shen Ming accepts the offer and begins reciting a poem describing the general's youthful bravery, heading out to hunt to prove his might and shooting arrows with pinpoint precision. Commander Lee loves the poem, and even though Wu Feng doesn't fully get it, he feels its raw hype and power firing up his spirit. Old Jiang smirks, impressed by Shen Ming's hidden depth. Commander Yang is stunned that Shen Ming could actually drop such an impressive poem. Shen Ming then asks the Grand Commander for his thoughts. The Grand Commander is thoroughly impressed with the poem. He asks Shen Ming what he wants, telling him to speak without hesitation. Shen Ming tells him he doesn't have any request right now, asking if he can bank the favor and cash it in later when something comes to mind. The Grand Commander agrees, promising that if he ever needs anything down the road, he can come directly to him, then reminds them of the bet between Shen Ming and Sun Ziyu, ordering them to see it through. Commander Yang tries to object, but the Grand Commander shuts him down with a sharp glare. Commander Yang backs off immediately, wishing the Grand Commander a safe journey. Old Jiang chuckles and tells Sun Ziyu to step up, ordering him to crawl between his legs just as agreed. Sun Ziyu looks to Commander Yang for help, but Commander Yang scolds him and calls him completely useless. Wu Feng mocks him, saying his master just threw him under the bus. Commander Lee approaches Shen Ming and advises him not to push things too far, jokingly asking him to write a poem for him later on. Commander Lee laughs, promising he'll wait until Shen Ming comes up with a proper request. He laughs again and leaves, reminding him not to forget his promise. Under pressure from Shen Ming, his crew, and the instructor's threats, a humiliated Sun Ziyu has no choice but to pay up. And he actually crawls right between old Jiang's legs. Everyone bursts out laughing in celebration, and an ecstatic Wu Feng decides to treat everyone to drinks to celebrate the victory. Old Jiang chuckles, thrilled to score a free meal. The four head back to their usual tavern. Wanwen warmly greets them, especially Shen Ming, but is surprised to see such a big crowd. She tells them she'll fetch more drinks. Wu Feng asks Shen Ming if this is the same girl he saved from the wolves before, jokingly teasing that she's clearly into him. The instructor remarks on how pretty she is, suggesting Shen Ming should go for it. Shen Ming ignores their teasing, telling them to just drink and stop making fun of him. He explains that Wanwen is still just a kid, which Wanwen overhears, getting annoyed. She angrily snaps back that she turns 18 this year, isn't a kid anymore, and her grandpa even gave her permission to marry. Shen Ming tries to defuse the tension, jokingly telling her they'll talk about it later. Wu Feng laughs at the situation. Suddenly, a stranger walks into the tavern demanding more food and drinks, shouting that he's starving. Then he spots Shen Ming mocks his appearance and acts surprised to see him in a tavern. Claiming he probably only drinks milk, Wu Feng snaps at the insult, calling the guy a dwarf with a foul mouth despite his short stature. He then roasts him, saying no wonder he visits the latrine so much since he's trying to soak up more fertilizer, mockingly offering to give him some. Enraged, the man roars threats at Wu Feng and draws his blade to kill him. But the instructor steps in, pointing out that this guy is one of Commander Yang's lackeys, asking if this rude behavior is how they always treat people and ordering him to back off immediately. One of the man's flunkies whispers in his ear, reminding him that the instructor belongs to the disciplinary department and they can't afford to get on his bad side. The man hesitates, then decides to clear out with his men. Shen Ming is surprised to learn the instructor is also from the disciplinary department, while old Jiang comments on his intimidating presence. The instructor laughs, confirming it, then asks Shen Ming if he knows anyone else from the department. Shen Ming replies that he knows Commander Tang and they occasionally exchange letters. The instructor is floored to hear about his connection with Tang Mingling, telling him she's considered the top beauty in the entire department. Wu Feng teases him about his crazy luck with ladies, having a village girl crushing on him here and a high-ranking beauty out there. Shen Ming gets embarrassed and tells him to knock it off. Everyone laughs at the banter. Suddenly, they hear cries for help coming from outside. They find a gang of soldiers beating up an unarmed man. A townsman shouts that it's the exact same soldiers again, barely done causing trouble with the Li family's daughter before coming right back to stir up more mess. The instructor recognizes their leader, Luo Fei, and chews him out, reminding him he's a soldier of the De Xing army and asking how he could oppress civilians like this. Luo Fei brushes off his words as annoying and decides to walk off with his men. But Shen Ming lets loose an arrow, nailing one of Luo Fei's men and dropping him to the ground. Luo Fei screams at Shen Ming, calling him crazy and accusing him of attacking a fellow soldier. Shen Ming fires back that they're bullying innocent people without cause and don't deserve to be called comrades in arms. And under De Xing law, any soldier who oppresses the people must be punished. Luo Fei mockingly asks what business that is of his, warning him not to get cocky over his previous win and threatening him for daring to meddle in his affairs. Luo Fei threatens Shen Ming that he'll teach him an unforgettable lesson. But before he can attack, Wu Feng and old Jiang step in and block his blow. Both are caught off guard by his unexpected power. Shen Ming realizes he might have to reveal his true power to wrap this up. Declaring he was looking for an excuse to take Luo Fei down anyway, then attacks, scolding him for daring to terrorize civilians as a mere squad leader. With a single strike, he knocks him flat onto the ground. He orders the men to arrest him and drag him off to prison. The soldiers obey immediately as the crowd erupts in cheers and joy, celebrating the capture of the tyrannical Luo Fei. They thank the heavens that righteous soldiers in the De Xing army still protect them. After this little incident wraps up, Shen Ming's life returns to normal between training and patrol duties. But over time, he and old Jiang notice that Sun Ziyu has started acting suspiciously again. His behavior has been super shady lately. Shen Ming senses he's plotting something and warns old Jiang to stay on high alert. But old Jiang brushes it off, saying the hunting squad has over 300 men and there's no way Sun Ziyu could bring a force big enough to challenge them. But Shen Ming insists on being cautious, arguing that the enemy lurks in the shadows while they're out in the open, so staying vigilant is a must. Just then, the instructor shows up and asks what they're talking about. Shen Ming hides nothing, sharing his concerns that Commander Yang might be plotting against them. The instructor admits Yang's faction has crossed the line, but reassures them the disciplinary department received a report and an investigation team is expected soon. Shen Ming hopes no trouble goes down during the upcoming hunting mission. Suddenly, Shen Ming senses something weird, pointing out suspicious movement on the horizon. Old Jiang wonders what's going on. At that moment, the instructor and old Jiang realize the danger. Beasts are launching an assault on the camp. The instructor roars a warning, shouting that the beast horde has begun its attack, ordering everyone to gear up for battle as the raid is led by a Tier 3 beast, the Jade Lion. Old Jiang tells Shen Ming to stay close to him and not run off or do anything reckless. The The instructor orders the archers to unleash a volley of arrows to push back the beast wave. But the arrows barely do anything against their tough defenses. The instructor shouts in frustration, resolving to take on the Jade Lion himself. Shen Ming is impressed by the instructor's sharp, powerful swordsmanship, which is way stronger than his own. Old Jiang explains this is the horizontal sword technique, one of the top 3 combat arts in the disciplinary department, but warns him now isn't the time to fanb. As their casualties are piling up and the situation looks dire, Shen Ming realizes they won't last long if this keeps up. He climbs the watchtower and bellows at the soldiers not to panic, ordering everyone to rally around him, form combat lines to face the enemy, and slay these damn beasts together. The soldiers respond to his rally and their morale shoots up. Shen Ming issues commands, splitting them into 3 units, spearmen in front to hold the line, swordsmen in the middle for close combat, and archers in the rear to provide cover fire and pick off beasts from a distance, under his temporary command. The scattered hunting squad transforms into an organized fighting force, the military formations proving wildly effective as they wipe out massive hordes of beasts that fail to pierce their line. But in the heat of battle, the Jade Lion manages to overpower the instructor. Shen Ming sees the instructor in grave danger and readies himself to intervene. Just as the instructor is about to meet his end, Shen Ming leaps onto the beast's back at the very last second. He calls on the instructor to team up and take the beast down, then drives his dagger into the monster's eye with all his might. A nearby soldier watches this heroic scene in total awe. A soldier shouts in shock that Shen Ming is fighting a Tier 3 beast in close-quarters combat. Another adds that Shen Ming gouged out the Jade Lion's left eye, blown away by his sheer guts and strength. Shen Ming's bravery inspires the soldiers. One shouts praises of his might and urges everyone to charge in and back him up. The soldiers answer the call and surge forward in a unified assault. The wounded instructor gets back up, roaring the order to charge and cursing that he won't let a bunch of grunts steal all the glory, unleashing his energy to join the fray. Meanwhile, old Jiang reveals his true power, pinning the beast from behind and screaming for Shen Ming to strike now. Shen Ming responds, raising his dagger for the finishing blow and driving it into the monster's chest, ending its life. A system prompt pops up, notifying him of successfully slaying the Jade Lion and earning 100 talent points. Old Jiang praises him, admitting he didn't pick wrong and assuring him a spot in the Dragon Suppression Division is guaranteed down the line. The instructor chuckles, declaring the disciplinary department already called dibs on Shen Ming. The soldiers erupt, chanting Shen Ming's name. Feeling embarrassed, Shen Ming tells them they're all brothers in the same camp and there's no need for formalities. The instructor walks over, telling him not to be modest since everyone witnessed his heroic feats. Shen Ming looks around at the beast corpses scattered everywhere. His first call as acting leader is ordering everyone to pull back immediately, leaving old Jiang alone to clean up the battlefield. After picking a new campsite, Shen Ming activates his Demon Hunter talent to scout strategic spots around the perimeter, ordering his men to lay traps. Once preparations are set, he lets his men rest up. Shortly after, old Jiang returns. Shen Ming immediately asks him for a situation report. Old Jiang pulls out a glowing musk stone, confirming he found it at the old camp just as Shen Ming predicted. Shen Ming recognizes it on the spot. Old Jiang explains he searched the entire old campsite but found no sign of Sun Ziyu's corpse, with this stone being the only trace. Shen Ming realizes Sun Ziyu secretly planted the stone, cursing himself for not stopping it, and anxiously asks if the path down the mountain is still safe. Old Jiang sighs, telling him the path is crawling with beasts, and trying to head down now is pure suicide. He notes that despite beasts roaming this area, they've never swarmed like this before, meaning someone is pulling the strings and wants them dead. Shen Ming instantly deduces this is Yang Fubing's doing, who must have figured out he killed Liu Yunji. Old Jiang asks what their next move is, suggesting they escape together and guaranteeing his safety alone. Shen Ming agrees getting away wouldn't be hard for them, but refuses to abandon 200 fellow soldiers, whispering a plan into old Jiang's ear. They head straight to the instructor and secure an officially sealed distress letter. Shen Ming then finds an open spot and releases a messenger falcon with the letter, springing the trap. Sure enough, Sun Ziyu was lurking nearby and shoots down the falcon in one shot. He retrieves the letter, sneering as he reads Shen Ming's distress call. He crushes the bird in his hand, declaring they're all doomed this time. Suddenly Shen Ming appears behind him, mockingly asking, "Oh really?" Sun Ziyu is stunned, asking in disbelief how Shen Ming discovered him, to which Shen Ming mocks him, asking if he thought he was as dumb as him. He explains that releasing a falcon from such an obvious spot was just bait to lure him out. Old Jiang yells, telling him to shut up, declaring this wilderness is the perfect spot to put an end to Sun Ziyu's evil deeds. The two trade arrow shots, but Shen Ming's arrow is faster and more precise, nailing Sun Ziyu's bow and pinning it to a tree. Shen Ming appears behind him and mocks him, asking how he dared challenge him and if he's tired of living. Enraged, Sun Ziyu snaps that he isn't scared, claiming Shen Ming is only at rank 2 chief fighter and his win against the armored bear was pure fluke. He charges forward, determined to show the real difference in their power. But he catches everyone off guard by suddenly shifting direction and lunging straight at Old Jiang. Realizing he likely can't beat Shen Ming, Sun Ziyu decides to grab Old Jiang, thinking he's a weakling with zero combat skills, to use as a hostage. Old Jiang is stunned to realize he's the actual target. Shen Ming facepalms at Sun Ziyu's stupidity for picking the strongest guy in the group to mess with. But before Sun Ziyu can reach him, his expression twists into absolute horror. Old Jiang throws a heavy punch, knocking him clean out. Shen Ming complains that Old Jiang knocked him out cold, making it impossible to interrogate him now. Old Jiang apologizes, claiming he couldn't hold back because Sun Ziyu was just too damn annoying. Looking down at Sun Ziyu's body, Shen Ming remarks on how ruthless and brutal Yang Fubing is, not hesitating to sacrifice the entire hunting squad just for revenge, declaring the man deserves death. Suddenly, Old Jiang announces Sun Ziyu is dead, quickly explaining it was due to hidden suicide poison in his teeth. But Shen Ming points out that Old Jiang's punch cracked the tooth and released the poison, ruining any chance of getting intel. He jokingly asks Old Jiang if he's really from the Dragon Suppression Division, calling his methods totally amateur. With Sun Ziyu dealt with, Shen Ming spends the following days waiting for backup, setting traps and hunting beasts to farm talent points. Once he finally stockpiles enough points to copy the purple grade talent he was aiming for, a guard rushes in with shocking news that catches both him and Old Jiang off guard. Old Jiang yells at the guard, telling him to repeat what he said and make sure he didn't mess up. The guard confirms seeing a demonic wolf scouting the camp from afar before vanishing, asking Shen Ming if this means they can now break through the encirclement. Old Jiang warns that's impossible, explaining these wolves are super crafty and it was likely scouting their position to bring reinforcements, ordering them to fortify defenses immediately. But Shen Ming tells him it's already too late, they're already here. A massive pack of wolves emerges from the tree line, led by a colossal alpha wolf. Old Jiang is stunned that he didn't sense them, wondering how Shen Ming spotted them and concluding he must also possess a danger sense, perhaps even stronger than his own. Shen Ming hatches a plan on the spot, ordering Old Jiang to sneak out and cut off the wolves' escape route, reassuring him no one will see him in the dark so his true power won't be exposed. Old Jiang grumbles at Shen Ming's cheek for bossing him around but agrees to the plan. Shen Ming then takes command of the soldiers, ordering them to take their positions. On Shen Ming's command, the hunting squad lines up in defensive formations, standing in the rain and mud with spears raised, waiting for the enemy. Shen Ming climbs the watchtower, gazing into the glowing eyes of the wolves in the dark, and roars the order to strike. Under Shen Ming's leadership, troop morale skyrockets as they trust they can survive, wondering what they have to fear with him around. They charge into battle, one soldier shouting in hype after taking down 3 wolves solo. Heavy crossbows rain a storm of bolts onto the wolf pack. But the Wolf King, a giant white beast, is insanely agile and dodges every arrow with ease. A soldier screams in panic, telling Shen Ming they can't land a hit on the Wolf King. Shen Ming decides to handle it himself. At that moment, his system reveals the Wolf King possesses a rare purple-grade talent called Sixth Sense, allowing it to sense danger and predict attacks seconds before they land. Shen Ming realizes beasts have talents too, but his system isn't high enough level to copy them yet. He marvels at how broken this talent is for letting the beast glimpse seconds into the future, bummed that he can't copy it yet. The Wolf King lunges at a soldier and knocks him flying with a vicious blow, slamming him into a massive boulder and knocking him out cold. Without hesitation, Shen Ming leaps into the air and confronts the Wolf King head-on. The beast roars in fury as 2 black wolves appear by its side to guard it. Shen Ming spots the bodyguards but doesn't care, declaring it won't change a thing. With a swift spinning slash, he slices down one of the wolves. He stands before the Wolf King, mockingly telling it its guards are finished and daring it to step up. Suddenly, a soldier yells in the distance, warning of more incoming beasts, and out of nowhere, the Wolf King turns tail and flees into the woods with the whole pack retreating behind it. The soldiers celebrate the victory, believing Shen Ming's raw might scared the Wolf King into retreating. They chant that his terrifying slash spooked the entire pack, wondering if Shen Ming is an immortal descended from the heavens and asserting his power is easily rank 5. Meanwhile, old Jiang rushes back to camp totally bewildered, wondering how on earth Shen Ming reached this level of strength so quickly. Shen Ming asks him what happened, wondering why the wolves pulled back. He reveals the chilling truth: a tier 4 beast is closing in on their position. Shen Ming realizes the Wolf King didn't flee out of fear of him, but out of terror of the other beast's power. From the distant roars, Shen Ming guesses the beast is a Jingyan tiger. Old Jiang confirms its power rivals a rank 8 human warrior. Shen Ming is shocked, as this monster is tiers above his current level. Old Jiang tells him there's no other choice. He'll stay behind to stall the monster while Shen Ming leads the troops to evacuate immediately. Shen Ming agrees to the plan but urges Old Jiang not to die, promising he'll come back for him. Old Jiang laughs dismissively, saying he won't die even if Shen Ming does, ordering him not to come back and promising to catch up once he slays the beast. He turns bravely and strides alone into the dark woods to face his destiny. Shen Ming quickly leads the hunting squad to a safe zone. Once everyone starts setting up tents, he sneaks away again. Sprinting back to where he left Old Jiang, inwardly praying his friend hasn't died. Shen Ming finds Old Jiang critically wounded, kneeling on the ground barely able to move, cursing his old age and muttering that if he were younger, this beast wouldn't stand a chance before resigning to his fate. The Jingyan tiger, a massive purple-furred beast, roars and lunges straight at Old Jiang. Old Jiang closes his eyes and whispers the name Kuehua, bidding farewell to life and thinking he'll never see her again. But at the last second, Shen Ming swoops in, grabs Old Jiang by the hair and yanks him out of harm's way. Shen Ming taunts the baffled tiger, then playfully asks Old Jiang if he's happy, quizzing him on who this Kuehua is. Old Jiang yells at him, calling him an idiot for coming back to die, to which Shen Ming replies he couldn't leave him behind, asking who else would report his merits to the Dragon Suppression Division. Old Jiang grumbles about the pain in his scalp, telling him to let go. Shen Ming drops him to the ground, and Old Jiang complains about the rough landing. Shen Ming excuses it as an emergency, asking if the beast was heavily wounded from their fight. Old Jiang screams a warning, telling him that even if it's wounded, it's still way too strong for Shen Ming to take on, but Shen Ming draws his lightning crackling sword and replies that he'll never know unless he tries. Shen Ming clashes with the tiger, his sword colliding with its fangs in a shower of sparks. The soldiers who caught up yell in sheer shock, unable to believe their leader is throwing down with a Jingyan tiger. The fight heats up as a soldier remarks in disbelief, wondering how a Qi realm warrior can brawl head-on with a tier 4 monster. Old Jiang gets up, getting ready to rally the troops to help. Meanwhile, Shen Ming continues to hold off the beast all on his own. Instructor He arrives on the battlefield, calling out to Old Jiang and declaring they can't let the two of them fight alone. Since they're all one team, then roars at the soldiers, reminding them of their brotherhood and rallying them to charge into battle. The soldiers answer the instructor's call, raising their swords in defiance and shouting their loyalty. Old Jiang yells at them, calling them bastards for running right back into a losing fight. In the heat of the brutal clash against the Jingyan tiger, Shen Ming has zero time to look around, realizing that even though Old Jiang wounded the beast, it still completely outclasses him in raw power. Their fierce clash continues. Suddenly, Old Jiang senses imminent danger and screams at Shen Ming to pull back immediately. The tiger gathers its strength and lunges at Shen Ming in a lightning-fast strike. But Shen Ming smirks, revealing he was waiting for this exact moment as he pulls out a concealed heavy crossbow. Old Jiang and the instructor are horrified, thinking Shen Ming has completely lost his mind, and that taking on the beast like this is pure suicide. But at the very last second, Old Jiang realizes his plan. Shen Ming slides cleanly under the charging beast, and in a bold move seizes the opening to shove the crossbow straight down the tiger's gaping maw. Then he pulls the trigger without hesitation. The system interface pops up, notifying him of successfully slaying a Tier 4 beast and earning 200 talent points. The soldiers roar in sheer disbelief, marveling at Shen Ming's insane strength after taking down a Tier 4 beast for the first time. The instructor yells in disbelief, shouting that Shen Ming is unstoppable and calling him a peerless genius. Shen Ming asks the instructor why they came back. He angrily snaps back that he could never leave his soldiers to face death alone. With the battle over, the three gather together. The instructor warns them never to pull such reckless stunts again and orders a return to camp, though everyone is still anxious about why reinforcements are late. Old Jiang wonders if the messenger falcon was intercepted again. Shen Ming agrees that's likely, leaving the instructor in despair, groaning that they'll just have to wait for death. Suddenly, Shen Ming stares into the horizon and tells the instructor it looks like they really are going to die together. The instructor is stunned by his words, only to spot the unimaginable, another monster, a massive white tiger stalking them from atop the hill. The soldiers cry out in despair, feeling as if the heavens have abandoned them. Shen Ming turns to old Jiang, telling him to cover the rear this time and promising he won't come back. But old Jiang flatly refuses. Shen Ming chuckles, then tells everyone to clear out while he stays behind to stall the beast solo. Old Jiang roars at him, calling him an absolute maniac. The instructor tries to stop him, insisting now isn't the time to play hero and that their only shot at survival is fighting together. The soldiers refuse to abandon him, swearing to stand their ground and fight by his side to the death. Moved by their loyalty, Shen Ming raises his sword high, declaring they'll face their fate together, victory or death. He leads them in a valiant charge, chanting their battle anthem, and leaps boldly right at the white tiger. But the beast's power is overwhelming. After a brutal brawl, all the soldiers collapse unconscious. Shen Ming lies among them, severely wounded, as the tiger closes in to finish him off. In what feels like his final moments, Shen Ming mutters regretfully that he wishes he could have had one last drink at Wanwen's tavern. Suddenly a woman's voice asks, "Who is Wanwen?" leaving Shen Ming shocked and wondering where the voice came from. At that moment a beam of blue light flashes, and a woman clad in blue armor carrying a massive greatsword appears, roaring at the beast with death threats for daring to touch the man she chose. She lunges at the tiger and takes it down in a single blow. She stands before Shen Ming, who barely manages to recognize her, whispering her name, Tang Mingling. She leans over him, asking why he's here before sharply repeating her question, "Who is Wanwen?" At that moment, Shen Ming's system reveals her godly talents, a purple-grade sword spirit and a gold-grade Luo Shen, making Shen Ming wonder about the secret behind her insane power and her connection to him. Shen Ming realizes this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and copying Commander Yang's talent is no longer his top priority. He reaches out toward her to copy the talent, but she furiously stops him with her blade, accusing him of thinking about another woman named Wanwen while trying to touch her. Shen Ming tries to explain that Wanwen is just like a little sister to him, but she doesn't buy it and turns to leave. So he scrambles to catch up, playfully asking if she'd just let him touch her once, making her snap and press her blade against his throat, threatening to chop off his hand if he ever tries that again. Watching from afar, old Jiang and the instructor observe the scene, with old Jiang noting a strange vibe between Shen Ming and the commander. Though the instructor anxiously brushes it off, Shen Ming feels frustrated that he can neither defeat her nor copy her talent. Catching him still staring, she threatens to gouge his eyes out. She warns him not to get cocky and think he can do whatever he pleases. So Shen Ming decides to back off for now and figure out a safer way to copy the commander's Ming King body talent. Tang Mingling suddenly switches the topic, asking if someone pissed off the Grand Commander. Shen Ming tells her the commander actually praised his poetry. Tang Mingling is surprised by his poetic talent and asks him to write one for her in the future. When he asks why she's suspicious, she drops the shocking truth. The distress call reached camp a long time ago, but 0 reinforcements were sent. And had she not arrived just in time, they'd all be corpses. Tang Mingling's words leave everyone deeply unsettled. Back at camp, Shen Ming sits down with old Jiang to analyze the situation, concluding that Commander Yang orchestrated the beast attack to wipe them out after learning they had proof of his treason. Yang wanted them all dead to cover up his crime, but the problem is their only evidence, Sun Ziyu, is already dead. Shen Ming blames old Jiang for killing him, and both agree to keep quiet to avoid tipping off the enemy. But the real mystery puzzling them is the Grand Commander's stance and his deliberate delay of reinforcements. While they discuss it, Wu Feng interrupts them, coming to inform Shen Ming that the Grand Commander has summoned him. Arriving at the main tent, Shen Ming is hyped, expecting rewards and promotions, but finds the atmosphere extremely tense and entirely off. Shen Ming salutes the Grand Commander and the other officers. The Grand Commander welcomes him and praises his massive achievements, mentioning that the investigation division wanted to recruit him. Shen Ming notices yet again that the Grand Commander's talent disappears from his system scanner, baffling him even more. Shen Ming declares he is at the commander's disposal. But the commander explains that, unfortunately, he can't be promoted or transferred since he's still a convict serving his sentence in the border army. Tang Mingling angrily chimes in, listing Shen Ming's feats, leading 200 men to slay over 1,000 beasts, including a Tier 3 and a Tier 4 beast, and questions how the army could possibly fail to reward such massive merits. She then sarcastically asks if her own investigation division doesn't reward heroes either. The Grand Commander tries to defuse the situation, clarifying he never said he wouldn't reward Shen Ming. Turning to Commander Li Qingyun, he asks him, since Shen Ming is one of his personal soldiers, to propose an appropriate reward. Commander Li suggests that Shen Ming's merits clear half of his criminal record, and that he be directly promoted to Centurion in his camp. Commander Yang immediately objects, arguing that Centurion is a mid-tier officer rank commanding 200 troops, and Shen Ming, having been in the army for only 5 months, is completely unqualified. Tang Mingling flares up and snaps at Commander Yang, reminding him the Grand Commander left the decision to Commander Li and it's none of his business to butt in. Seeing that Tang Mingling has Shen Ming's back, Commander Yang resolves to block him from gaining any leverage. He argues that a Centurion position requires at least rank 6 of the Qi realm, and that Shen Ming, despite his feats, is still just a rookie. Tang Mingling cuts him off with a smirk, reminding him that the kid literally killed a Tier 4 beast right in front of everyone. But Commander Yang insists something fishy went down. Losing her patience, she suggests he fight Shen Ming himself to test his worth. Shen Ming is horrified by her suggestion, while Commander Yang laughs it off, saying he's a Power Realm powerhouse and fighting Shen Ming would literally be a death sentence. Shen Ming realizes Yang's power rivals old Jiang's, and he stands zero chance against him. Commander Li steps in with a compromise. Shen Ming fights one of Yang's own Centurions, and if he wins, no one can dispute his promotion. Tang Mingling agrees, knowing she and Commander Li just successfully trapped Commander Yang. In the combat arena, Shen Ming's opponent turns out to be Luo Fei, the scumbag who assaulted civilians earlier, whom Commander Yang pulled out of prison specifically for this matchup. Luo Fei vows revenge, swearing to kill Shen Ming in the ring. The crowd is split, with some thinking Shen Ming is reckless to face a veteran like Luo Fei who reached rank 7 of the Qi realm, while others defend him, arguing that anyone who can slay a Tier 4 beast won't fear a rank 7 warrior. Commander Li seizes the moment and proposes opening up bets. And Commander Yang immediately agrees, putting Shen Ming's winning odds at 10-1, dead sure Luo Fei won't lose. But he's blindsided when Commander Li, the instructor, and Wu Feng all drop massive bets on Shen Ming to win. Doubt starts creeping into his mind, but it's too late as Tang Mingling eagerly hypes up the open betting for everyone. Tang Mingling drops 50 gold pieces on Shen Ming to win, determined to make up for her previous loss. Commander Yang is shocked by the size of the bet, realizing they must know something he doesn't. Enraged, he threatens to skin Luo Fei alive if he dares lose. Luo Fei reassures him, promising an easy victory. Shen Ming cuts his trash talk short, and Luo Fei attacks with everything he's got, only to be completely stunned when Shen Ming blocks his full power strike barehanded with both arms. The crowd is utterly flabbergasted, as is Commander Yang, who can't believe his eyes, since Shen Ming was only at rank 2 the last time he saw him, wondering how he's handling Luo Fei so casually. He concludes Shen Ming must have been hiding his true strength all along. And having blocked the strike, things become light work for Shen Ming. Thanks to his stacked talents, even a matched opponent wouldn't stand a chance, so he pummels him mercilessly until Luo Fei crashes down begging for mercy. But Shen Ming shows zero mercy, chewing him out over his past crimes and how he walked out of prison scot-free. He tells him that while he might have slipped past military law, he won't escape his fists. After teaching him a brutal lesson, the Grand Commander declares Shen Ming the winner and officially promotes him to Centurion. Commander Yang tries to protest, but Tang Mingling shuts him up with a solid kick and demands her payout. Shen Ming asks her to split some of the winnings, which she rejects, instead offering another reward, taking command of the hunting squad since the instructor was critically injured. Shen Ming accepts instantly, seeing it as the ultimate opportunity to farm more talent points while still eyeing a chance to copy her broken talents. Catching him staring, she tells him she likes him, but adds that she has plenty of admirers, leaving him bewildered as she walks off. Under Tang Mingling's arrangements, Shen Ming starts rebuilding the hunting squad, recruiting all the talented soldiers in the camp. As a result, his squad becomes unprecedentedly strong, allowing him to stockpile 8,000 talent points in no time. After wrapping up a hunt, Shen Ming orders the convoy back while deciding to stay behind, intending to find the Grand Commander and copy his talent. But Wu Feng and Old Jiang cut in, inviting him out for drinks, with Old Jiang mentioning he has something important to discuss, but won't spill it unless Shen Ming treats him to booze. Shen Ming agrees and puts his plan on hold. At the tavern, after several rounds of drinks, Old Jiang finally spills his secret, asking Shen Ming if he knows Tang Mingling's true power level. Shen Ming is shocked, but Old Jiang drops an even bigger bombshell, revealing she's reached the power realm. Shen Ming only knew about the energy realm above the Qi realm, wondering if the power realm is what comes next. Old Jiang clarifies that the skill realm follows the power realm, a level he never managed to reach in his entire life, but tells Shen Ming he's built different, possessing far greater potential and feeling confident he'll reach even greater heights. As for Tang Mingling, he reveals she's on another level, having reached the power realm beyond the skill realm, and her rank within it is far from low. Wu Feng is floored, pointing out that the Grand Commander himself is barely in the power realm, wondering how a young woman could possibly reach such heights. Old Jiang insists he isn't joking, mentioning that after the hunt, he saw the mountain littered with beast corpses, realizing she wiped them all out entirely on her own. Shen Ming realizes anyone with such god-tier talents is bound to be a monster, resolving to grind enough talent points to reach that level so he'll never have to fear his uncle's revenge again and can crush him directly. Wanwen interrupts, and when he asks about her grandfather, she mentions he'll be back in 2 days. Shen Ming seizes the chance to warn her, explaining border conditions are getting worse, and their village is too close to danger, advising her to move to the city with her grandpa to stay safe, which saddens Wanwen. Shen Ming hands her a pouch of coins to help out, but she refuses. Wu Feng and Old Jiang tease her, saying she can just treat it as a betrothal gift, making her blush intensely and run away. Shen Ming scolds his 2 buddies, then tries to clear things up with Wanwen, but she misinterprets it as him rejecting her, before jumping to the conclusion that he agreed to marry her. Left with no choice, Shen Ming flatly tells her he only sees her as a little sister and can't marry her. Wanwen presses for a reason, so he tries to explain his identity is complicated. But ultimately, just to convince her to leave, he lies and tells her he already has another woman. Wu Feng and Old Jiang are shocked by his lie. Wanwen doesn't believe him, having seen no woman around him for the past 5 months. He tells her that woman was away on a mission and just returned, and that he needs to be upfront with her. Wu Feng and Old Jiang whisper among themselves, wondering if he means Tang Mingling and admiring his sheer audacity. Shen Ming ignores them, insisting Wanwen leave with her grandpa since the area is no longer safe. But she still thinks he's bluffing, so he promises to bring that woman to meet her tomorrow so she can see for herself and finally leave. She reluctantly agrees and runs off in tears. Wu Feng and Old Jiang chew him out for being so harsh, saying he broke her heart, and wonder how on earth he'll pull this off tomorrow. Old Jiang wonders how he'll ever convince Tang Mingling to help him in this situation. Shen Ming has no real plan and decides to just wing it. He knows her fiery temper might get him killed the second he asks, so acting along seems like a pipe dream. Old Jiang hypes him up, insisting Tang Mingling definitely seems to have a soft spot for him. The 3 return to camp, but Shen Ming hesitates repeatedly outside Tang Mingling's tent, not daring to enter, just as he finally gathers his courage. He spots a soldier sneaking into the command tent, emitting a purple glow that reveals the god-tier Ming King body talent. Shen Ming realizes this soldier is Grand Commander Yu Xiaoyuan in disguise. Shen Ming sneaks in behind him, but is shocked to find the real Commander Yu Xiaoyuan already sitting inside the tent, leaving him wondering about the mystery of two identical commanders. Suddenly, the commander calls out, asking why he's here. Flustered, Shen Ming cooks up an excuse, asking for more recruits for his squad. The commander sharply rejects the request, citing the army is at war with 0 spare troops and dismisses him. Shen Ming withdraws immediately, heading straight to Tang Mingling to tell her what he saw. But she laughs off his story, dismissing the idea of two identical commanders in the army. Realizing she won't believe him, Shen Ming decides to shelve the matter for now. When she asks for the real reason he came, he has to explain the whole drama with Wanwen. Though annoyed, she cools down a bit, agreeing to help him just this once for the sake of protecting civilians. Shen Ming thanks her warmly, and she promises to show up tomorrow. But the next day, news of an attack by the Mubing Kingdom spreads, and orders go out for all troops to prepare for battle, delaying Shen Ming by a full day, never expecting this slight delay would lead to pure catastrophe. When he and Tang Mingling finally reach the village, they find it burning to the ground with bodies scattered everywhere. Tang Mingling realizes Mubing soldiers made it all the way here. Shen Ming sees the tavern collapsing and realizes the grave danger Wanwen is in. He rushes inside the tavern to search for her, finding her lying amidst the rubble, critically wounded. After examining her, Tang Mingling tells him her pulse is extremely faint. Wanwen struggles to open her eyes, expressing relief to finally see him. Shen Ming is enraged and demands to know who did this. But she looks at Tang Mingling and whispers how beautiful she is, saying now she understands why, before Shen Ming cuts her off, begging Tang Mingling to find a way to save her. Tang Mingling tells him she can only temporarily stabilize her vitals, and treating her requires getting back to camp. But consumed by fury and desperation, Shen Ming demands she save her immediately. Tang Mingling notes the blood is still warm, meaning the attackers haven't gotten far. Boiling with rage, Shen Ming decides to hunt down the killers himself. She tries to stop him, calling him reckless, but he ignores her and activates his Scoutmaster skill. A red thread appears before him, leading directly to the enemy's trail, and he bolts at full speed, swearing bloody vengeance. From afar, Wu Feng and Old Jiang spot him, wondering why he's sprinting like a maniac, while the instructor catches the scent of blood in the air. Moments later, Tang Mingling arrives carrying Wanwen in her arms and fills them in on what happened, explaining that Luo Fei, one of Commander Yang's men, slaughtered the innocent villagers for a bounty, and that Shen Ming misinterpreted Wanwen's last words, thinking Mubing soldiers did it and charged after them. Everyone realizes Shen Ming is in grave danger, and that Luo Fei and his crew will use this chance to wipe him out. Meanwhile, Luo Fei and his men are celebrating their massacre, bragging about taking out enemy spies, even whining about failing to assault Wanwen because she fought back so fiercely. Suddenly, a sword plummets from the sky right in front of them, and Shen Ming emerges, oozing pure killing intent. One of Luo Fei's lackeys tries to threaten him, confident Shen Ming wouldn't dare attack against such numbers. But Shen Ming eliminates him in a single blow. One of Luo Fei's men recognizes Shen Ming, warning the others that he's the one who killed the monstrous tiger. Shen Ming strides toward Luo Fei, who begins crawling backward in terror, screaming that Shen Ming is crazy for killing his own comrades over a few peasants. Shen Ming shows zero mercy, telling him no one is saving him today. Just as he's about to end him, Commander Yang suddenly appears, accusing Shen Ming of murdering his men and threatening to execute him on the spot. But Shen Ming laughs in mockery, reciting a poem defying death itself. Commander Yang lunges in for the kill, but at the last second, Tang Mingling drops in and kicks him flying, roaring in fury that nobody touches her man. Commander Yang argues that Shen Ming committed a capital offense, but Tang Mingling exposes the truth, stating his men butchered innocents and Wanwen is living proof of their crimes. She adds that had she not been busy saving her life, she would have slaughtered them herself. Commander Yang realizes he's in deep trouble and tries to backpedal, Commander Yang argues that the border army has its own jurisdiction, and Tang Mingling, being from the investigation division, has zero authority to interfere in their business. But she mocks him, questioning who he thinks he is to talk to her like that, making it crystal clear she doesn't fear the powerful backer behind him. She threatens to kill him if he doesn't back down, leaving him no choice but to retreat while swearing to report this to the Grand Commander and make them regret it. Suddenly, Shen Ming collapses unconscious. In his coma, he experiences a long dream, seeing himself as a college student in another world. Before the scene shifts to him as a border soldier battling beasts, with faces of everyone he met in this world flashing by from his comrades, and close friends like Old Jiang, Wu Feng and the instructor, to Tang Mingling and Wanwen. Finally, he wakes up shouting Wanwen's name. Wu Feng and Old Jiang are right by his side, overjoyed that he survived. The instructor explains how critical his injuries were, sprinting a huge distance to hunt the killers, taking down 2 of them, and then taking a sword chi blast from Commander Yang that shredded his internal organs, surviving only thanks to his monster physique. The first thing he asks about is Wanwen's condition. So Tang Mingling walks in and tells him she placed her in her own tent under the care of top military medics, reassuring him not to worry. Then she scolds him for being reckless, reminding him that killing fellow soldiers is a capital crime punishable by death. And that by acting out, he didn't just endanger himself but also put his friends and the squad he painstakingly built in jeopardy. Shen Ming apologizes but insists that had he not taken revenge, he would have lived the rest of his life despising himself. Tang Mingling sighs and tells him to get up and face his fate before the commanders. Wu Feng and Old Jiang are worried sick that he'll be executed. But the instructor points out that while Tang Mingling might spare his life, a severe punishment is definitely waiting for him. In the command tent, backed by Wanwen's testimony, Luo Fei's guilt in slaughtering innocents is proven beyond doubt. But a heated debate breaks out over Shen Ming's punishment. Commander Yang insists on executing him for killing comrades, while Commander Li defends him, arguing that his actions purged the army of corrupt scum. Tang Mingling angrily intervenes, pointing out that Luo Fei had gotten away with crimes time and again, and without Shen Ming's intervention, he would have walked out of prison yet again. The Grand Commander puts an end to the argument, and asks Shen Ming why he risked his life for villagers he didn't even know. Shen Ming answers that his duty as a soldier is to protect the people, and since those villagers are citizens of the great Dezing Empire, he could never abandon them. The commander is impressed by his words and praises his noble stance. But the Grand Commander reminds him that he's still just an exiled convict. And even though he was on the verge of clearing his record and heading back to the capital after his promotion, he's now right back to square one, asking him if it was really worth all the trouble. Shen Ming replies with a line of poetry, asserting that he's ready to lay down his life for his country and won't hesitate to face any hardship to bring about justice. The commander is moved by his words, and so is Tang Mingling, whose eyes well up with tears. After a moment of silence, the commander hands down his verdict. He reprimands Commander Li for his men's crimes, docks half his pay for a year, and orders him to investigate the massacre and punish everyone involved. Turning to Shen Ming, he acknowledges that Luo Fei deserved to die, but insists Shen Ming cross the line by taking justice into his own hands. As a result, he strips him of his centurion rank, demoting him back to a regular grunt. But as the commander helps him up, Shen Ming seizes the chance to touch him, finally copying the purple grade Ming King body talent for 8,000 talent points. Once everyone leaves, Commander Li reassures Shen Ming that he's still his personal soldier and can use this downtime to rest and recover. Shen Ming feels satisfied knowing that with this new talent, he'll be ready to face Commander Yang down the line. Later on, Tang Mingling tracks him down and teases him for sulking over losing his rank, offering him a spot in the investigation division's hunting squad and promising to protect him from anyone who dares object. Shen Ming hesitates, claiming he wants to focus on training, but she insists that real combat is the best form of cultivation. When he asks about Wanwen's fate, she tells him she'll take care of it. True to her word, she arranges for Wanwen to be sent to the capital for top-tier medical care and enrolls her in an academy there. 2 days later, orders come through for Shen Ming and his team to join the investigation division. At the training grounds, a man named Tang Minglong shows up and mocks Shen Ming's squad, calling them dead weight. Tang Mingling scolds him, warning him never to call her by her first name while on duty. Shen Ming notices this guy possesses a green-grade advanced physical fitness talent. The instructor reveals to him that Tang Minglong is actually her cousin. An arrogant, pompous guy trying to suck up to her just to snag her position. Meanwhile, Tang Minglong orders his men to shove Shen Ming's squad into doing grunt work so they won't get in the way of their mission. The instructor snaps at his disrespect and defends the squad, reminding Tang Mingling of their feats, slaying thousands of beasts, including Tier 3 and Tier 4 monsters. Tang Minglong scoffs at the instructor's claims, calling Shen Ming's squad a bunch of weak grunts who don't know the first thing about martial arts, accusing him of exaggerating and lying just to hype them up, leaving the instructor fuming. But Tang Mingling cuts them off and asks Shen Ming how he's holding up. He reassures her he's fine, and since she's leading the mission, he won't have to fight himself, but she tells him not to slack off on his duties. Watching from afar, Tang Minglong grows uneasy seeing Shen Ming get so close to his cousin. Resolving to find a way to get rid of him, he proposes a hunting contest to the instructor to see who can hunt the most beasts. He specifies that only high-tier beasts will count. The instructor hesitates, but Shen Ming convinces him to take it. Then steps forward and challenges Tang Minglong directly. Shen Ming wagers 2,000 silver coins against an armed guard owned by Tang Minglong. Tang Minglong laughs at the stake, adding the condition that if he wins, Shen Ming becomes his personal servant. Shen Ming agrees instantly, knowing his opponent just walked right into his trap. His plan hinges on the beast-attracting musk stone he scored earlier. Thanks to the stone, he's dead sure he can lure in countless beasts and crush the bet with ease. Shen Ming offers the instructor 1,000 silver coins if they win, only asking to keep the armed guard for himself. The instructor agrees, stating that putting Tang Minglong in his place is the real prize. Shen Ming rallies his squad, promising to split the 1,000 silver pieces among everyone if they win. On the other side, Tang Minglong hypes up his men too, promising them half his winnings and urging them to show off the investigation division's true power. Once night falls, Tang Minglong's squad is ready to strike. But they're stunned to see the beasts completely ignoring them and heading straight for Shen Ming's squad. They joke among themselves, wondering if beasts only go after weaklings. But they quickly realize that every beast swarming Shen Ming's team is getting wiped out by deadly traps. Panic sets in as they realize they're about to lose the bet. Tang Minglong realizes Shen Ming is using a musk stone to cheat, so he orders his men to charge in and steal their kills. But Tang Mingling blocks their path, stopping them dead in their tracks. Tang Minglong angrily confronts his cousin, asking why she's stopping him. She coldly replies that she's just keeping the contest fair, asking why they were heading toward Shen Ming's camp in the first place. He accuses them of cheating with a musk stone to lure beasts. But she mocks him, asking if there was any rule banning such items before the match started. Tang Minglong has zero comebacks, lashing out in fury and striking one of his own men. Meanwhile, between the musk stone and the demon hunter talent, Shen Ming's team is slaughtering beasts effortlessly and farming talent points with zero sweat. When the competition wraps up, the outcome is crystal clear. Tang Minglong refuses to accept defeat. So Tang Mingling chews him out, pointing out that Shen Ming's squad killed far more beasts than his entire team combined, ordering him to hand over the armed guard as agreed. He hesitates for a second, but Shen Ming snatches the armed guard right from him and thanks her. When he asks how to use it, she calls him an ignoramus, explaining it's a spatial artifact used for storage. As she explains it up close, he blushes from their close proximity, while in the distance, Tang Minglong watches the scene fuming with rage, swearing revenge. Over the next few days, Shen Ming and his squad join Tang Mingling on hunting expeditions. And under her lead, he farms enough talent points to copy Tang Minglong's talent, and even breaks through to rank 8 of the Qi realm. One day, Tang Minglong blocks his path again, challenging him to an archery showdown. Shen Ming mocks him, asking what he even has left to bet after losing everything. He angrily replies that the wager depends on what Shen Ming has, not what he wants. Shen Ming rubs it in, calling him an arrogant broke boy, making Tang Minglong snap and bet 4,000 silver coins to win his armed guard back. But Shen Ming turns it down, calling the payout chump change, and turns to walk away. Tang Minglong stops him, offering a priceless 9 spirits blood pill, a rare life-saving elixir. Shen Ming agrees instantly, snatching the pill before he can change his mind. Tang Minglong sets the rules, 10 arrows each, and whoever slays the most giant tusk boars wins. To ensure his victory, he offers to count each boar Shen Ming kills as 2, claiming it's because Shen Ming is weaker. As he speaks, Shen Ming steps up and claps a hand on his shoulder, instantly copying the green-grade advanced physique talent and fusing it with his own into the tyrant body. Shen Ming accepts the challenge with full confidence. While Tang Minglong is dead certain of his victory this time. But Tang Mingling sees right through his dirty trick and scolds him for setting up Shen Ming, since he deliberately picked boars with insane defensive armor that arrows can barely pierce. But he brushes her off, claiming all is fair in war. The instructor warns Shen Ming about the insane difficulty. While Tang Minglong's men laugh, mocking that he won't even be able to scratch them. Tang Minglong's lackeys mock Shen Ming, claiming he won't even be able to draw the heavy warbow needed to hunt these beasts. As they show off their fancy bows, Tang Minglong taunts Shen Ming, telling him to prove he can even draw the bow before talking about competing. He fires his first arrow into a tree, enraging the wild boars. He feels confident that his high cultivation will net him an easy win, while Shen Ming struggles to pierce their armor. But he's dumbfounded when he sees Shen Ming draw the heavy bow to full draw with zero effort, packing even more raw power than he displayed. Everyone is stunned, including Tang Minglong's men, who wonder if Shen Ming is a monster disguised as a human. Even Investigation Division members admit that talent like this shouldn't be wasted outside their ranks. Tang Minglong can't believe his eyes, trying to convince himself that even if Shen Ming can draw the bow, he won't be able to hit targets accurately. But Shen Ming looses his first arrow, skewering 3 boars in a single shot. Old Jiang and the instructor are blown away by his insane power. While Tang Minglong realizes he's about to lose the bet unless he acts fast. But Shen Ming gives him zero breathing room, raining down arrows and wiping out every single boar before his rival can even fire a single shot. Shen Ming's squad erupts in victory cheers. Shen Ming demands his prize, leaving Tang Minglong with no choice but to surrender the 9 spirits blood pill while swearing revenge. Shen Ming sarcastically thanks his rival and pockets the priceless pill. Old Jiang tries to snatch it from him, but Shen Ming refuses, stating it's rightfully his. Feeling a bit embarrassed, he decides to offer it to Tang Mingling as a thank you gift for always backing him up. Old Jiang scolds him for being way too generous. Tang Mingling turns down the gift, claiming it's not enough. And when he jokingly asks if she wants him to marry her instead, she mocks him and reminds him of his promise to write her a poem. Shen Ming finds himself at a loss for words at that moment. Later that night, as they relax around the campfire by a lake, Shen Ming overhears Tang Mingling reciting melancholic poetry lines. Realizing she might be tied to this world's water goddess, especially with her Luo Shen talent, he approaches her and she asks what he thinks of the scenery. Before he inquires why they haven't set up any security precautions, Tang Minglong mocks him, claiming this area is completely safe and no beasts would dare approach. But Shen Ming ignores him and insists on setting traps since he trusts nobody. Once they finish setting up, they sit down to eat. Old Jiang notices Shen Ming looking uneasy, and Shen Ming mentions feeling a weird itch on his back. Tang Minglong mocks Shen Ming, calling him a dirty peasant who doesn't bathe, and tells Tang Mingling to sit far away from him. But she ignores him, asking Shen Ming if he finished the poem he promised her. Tang Minglong cuts in again, laughing at the idea of a lowly grunt writing poetry, and offers to recite one himself. He begins reciting some cringy, poorly written verses. That completely failed to impress Tang Mingling. Shen Ming roasts him, calling his poem shallow. Enraged, Tang Minglong dares him to recite his poem so they can judge, proposing another bet. Old Jiang and the instructor chuckle, knowing Tang Minglong has zero clue about Shen Ming's poetic talent. Shen Ming declines the wager, saying poetry is too refined for gambling, but agrees to recite his poem. Shen Ming begins reciting a stunning poem, painting the scenery of the lake and starry sky, dedicating it to Tang Mingling. Deeply touched by the beautiful verses, she softly whispers the last 2 lines. She stands up, pours him a drink, and declares a toast to the poem. From afar, Tang Minglong's men watch in disbelief, unable to fathom why their commander, who rejected countless nobles, is showing favor to an ordinary soldier. Suddenly, the alarm bell rings, signaling a beast raid. Everyone readies for combat, shocked that beasts have appeared right at the lake, which was supposed to be safe. Tang Minglong's men realize Shen Ming was right about setting traps all along. The battle erupts, and thanks to their tight coordination, Shen Ming's squad fends off the assault brilliantly. Meanwhile, the investigation division crew was drunk, cutting their combat effectiveness in half. Luckily, Tang Mingling is on the field, stepping in with overwhelming power. As she unleashes her frost swords, one-shotting the alpha beast in a single blow. Shen Ming marvels at the power of her sword spirit talent, resolving to copy it in the future. With the fight over, Tang Mingling thanks him for his foresight with the traps, which saved them from outright disaster. But he humbly replies that it was just standard procedure for his squad. Tang Mingling harshly chews out the investigation division men, asking if they heard him clearly. She brands them arrogant and disrespectful, reminding them that today they owe their lives to someone they used to look down on. She sarcastically asks how they dare call themselves the sharp blade of the Dezing dynasty, and if they feel any shame right now. As her men hang their heads in disgrace, Tang Minglong steps up, turning to Shen Ming for help. To de-escalate things, begging Commander Tang not to be angry. He reassures her the investigation division men have learned their lesson, and won't let border soldiers outshine them ever again. Inwardly, Tang Minglong thought framing Shen Ming would widen the rift between both squads, unable to believe his cousin would turn against the entire investigation division for Shen Ming's sake. Tang Mingling confronts him, demanding to know what he means, to which he replies he wasn't talking about her. She asks how he dares smirk, demanding where he was hiding while everyone was battling beasts. He cooks up an excuse about having a stomachache, so she calls him a lazy donkey full of excuses, saying she won't waste another second on him. Tang Mingling turns to her men and asks if they got her message, and they respond in unison. They promise to learn from Shen Ming from now on, with one admitting they were arrogant and learned a hard lesson today about always staying vigilant. Out of nowhere, all the investigation division men drop to their knees before Shen Ming, acknowledging he saved their lives and asking him to accept their bow of gratitude. Tang Minglong is floored, wondering how this is even possible since he thought they despised Shen Ming, baffled as to why they're bowing to him now. Tang Mingling turns to him and mockingly asks if his knees are too stiff to bend. He retorts that he never asked Shen Ming to save him. So she draws her blade, threatening him, forcing him onto his knees to begrudgingly thank Shen Ming for saving his life. With the investigation division finally united, Tang Mingling announces to Shen Ming that starting today, he and his squad will merge into their scout unit to teach them how to evade hazards. Shen Ming accepts the offer, while Tang Minglong fumes with jealousy over them getting closer. After that battle, everyone's attitude toward Shen Ming does a complete 180, except for Tang Minglong, of course. And after showing off his crazy monster hunting expertise, they hold massive respect for him. During a patrol through a snowy area, Shen Ming finds a tuft of fur from a male jade lion. He deduces a Tier 3 beast just passed through, as the scent is still fresh and the fur hasn't frozen over, pinpointing its direction immediately. Suddenly, a jade lion leaps out in front of them. Shen Ming realizes it's too late to hide and orders an instant attack, warning everyone not to let the beast roar and alert the rest of the pride. Tang Minglong screams to run away, but Shen Ming readies his upgraded crossbow and fires at the monster. Shen Ming halts the soldiers, telling them to hold on and listen to him. But Tang Minglong yells in their faces, asking what they're doing and demanding an immediate retreat. Shen Ming explains that the jade lion is way too fast and these mountains are its turf. So trying to run now will only turn them into easy prey. A soldier asks what plan they should follow. Shen Ming lays out his plan. He'll use explosives to stall the first jade lion, while the rest use that window to rig a blast trap. When the rest of the pride arrives, they'll detonate the charges to trigger a massive avalanche, burying the incoming beasts beneath the cliff. A soldier praises Shen Ming's genius, amazed at how quickly he cooked up such a solid plan. This way, they can escape safely once the avalanche buries the monsters. Everything goes according to plan. And just as they finish setting the trap, the entire pride of jade lions arrives. A soldier shouts a warning to Shen Ming to pull back immediately since the beasts are here. But at that critical second, Tang Minglong appears, aiming a flaming arrow not at the beasts but straight at the explosives. He smirks wickedly, wishing death on Shen Ming. The soldiers try to stop him, but it's too late. The trap detonates prematurely, triggering a catastrophic avalanche that swallows Shen Ming whole. Back at camp, the instructor furiously confronts Tang Minglong, accusing him not only of incompetent leadership, but of attacking his own comrade in arms, calling him a scumbag who deserves to die. But Tang Minglong scoffs, asking how a convicted criminal like Shen Ming could ever be considered a comrade. Old Jiang flies into a rage, threatening him with his blade and demanding he repeat that. Tang Minglong tries to justify his actions, claiming the situation was dire, and triggering the avalanche early meant sacrificing just one person to save 4 others, adding that Shen Ming giving his life to save 5 Investigation Division men is a huge honor for him. The soldiers completely reject that bogus honor, insisting that without Shen Ming they never would have made it back alive. One soldier steps forward and demands Tang Minglong pay back their leader Shen Ming's life. Panic strikes Tang Minglong as he accuses them of mutiny, turning to his cousin Tang Mingling for help and accusing the soldiers of inciting a riot. But she reminds him that she warned him never to call her by her first name in camp, declaring zero tolerance this time before ordering her men to arrest him, charging him with openly attacking a comrade, and announcing he will be dealt with severely once the mission wraps up. As the guard sees him, he asks if she's really punishing him over a convict. So she slaps him hard across the face, telling him he should be grateful they haven't found Shen Ming's body yet. She assures them she'll deal with Tang Minglong personally, asking Old Jiang to stand down with his men. Old Jiang reluctantly agrees, stating he'll trust her this once, but demands she deliver justice for Shen Ming. Once everyone leaves, Tang Mingling breaks down in tears, softly whispering Shen Ming's name and praying he's okay. As the scene cuts to Shen Ming plunging deep into the abyss of the avalanche. But thanks to his tyrant body and Ming King body talents, Shen Ming survives the lethal fall. Realizing this place is teeming with deadly beasts, and that he shouldn't linger, he decides to get back to camp ASAP. As he makes his way through, he spots a strange light, radiating extreme danger. After taking a closer look, chills run down his spine, prompting him to get out of there immediately, using his demon hunter talent and breath concealment art to sneak away completely undetected. After dodging beasts along the way, Shen Ming finally makes it to the Yunyuan Lake camp. He reunites with his crew, the instructor Old Jiang and Tang Mingling, who changed into white robes, sitting down to grab a bite. Tang Mingling tells him to slow down since no one is competing for his food, expressing her amazement that he managed to survive all on his own all these days. Old Jiang shares how glad he is to see him back safe and sound. The instructor adds that if he took any longer to return, Commander Tang would have literally executed her cousin Tang Minglong. Shen Ming thanks her for seeking justice for him, then mentions that on his way back he saw a strange glowing point resembling a rune, which seemed to be the legendary Demon Clan Rift. Everyone is shocked to hear about a Demon Rift. Tang Mingling traces a rune in the air and asks if it matches what he saw, and he confirms it's the exact same thing. The instructor panics, explaining that the appearance of such an omen is always accompanied by massive catastrophe. Tang Mingling asks if he remembers where the rift was located. Shen Ming tells her he left trail markers along the way, but points out that if this really is a demon rift, their current forces won't be nearly enough to deal with it. Tang Mingling immediately orders the instructor to dispatch messages to the Investigation Division and the Border Army, explaining that a demon rift is extremely hazardous and they'll need serious reinforcements. The instructor anxiously asks if the rift will stabilize soon, meaning Xiongju province would face guaranteed doom. But Tang Mingling reassures him that based on Shen Ming's description, the rift won't fully stabilize anytime soon, so there's no need to rush. The instructor leaves to carry out orders, and she allows an exhausted Shen Ming to crash in her tent. Shen Ming dozes off at the table, and Tang Mingling falls asleep beside him. Shen Ming wakes up in a panic, realizing he fell asleep in the commander's tent and that Tang Minglong will kill him if he finds out. Tang Mingling asks if he's awake, flustering him as he tries to flirt with her, which makes her blush, and order him never to tell a soul about this. Outside, the instructor and Old Jiang tease him, joking that his disaster turned into a total blessing. Shen Ming tries to play it down, claiming she just let him rest in her tent. But Old Jiang roasts him, urging him to just confess his feelings for her. While Shen Ming scrambles to find the right words, Tang Mingling suddenly appears behind him, asking what he wants to say. Terrified, he thinks she's a ghost, asking when she got there as she repeats her question. After some banter, they decide to head back to the rift site, with Shen Ming leading the way by following his markers. Thanks to having Tang Mingling, a top-tier powerhouse, with them, they breeze through every beast in their path with zero effort, reaching their destination without a hitch. But before advancing further, Tang Mingling halts them, sensing something off. Hiding behind an ice boulder, they spot a small beast drinking from the river. At first, Shen Ming thinks it's just a low-tier critter, but Tang Mingling corrects him, explaining this as a Tier 2 rock fang beast, a companion creature to the giant rock dragon. Shen Ming is shocked, as the giant rock dragon is a massive Tier 8 monster. Now he understands why he felt such extreme danger here, realizing a Tier 8 beast is lurking nearby. But Tang Mingling tells him it's not that simple, since the giant rock dragon measures hundreds of meters long. Tang Mingling explains that the giant rock dragon is constantly on the move, and if it were hiding in this valley, it would have been impossible not to detect it by now. Shen Ming wonders what's really going on. So Tang Mingling tells him that to find the answer, they need to check the rift itself. As they get closer, they're blown away by the massive scale of the rift tearing across the sky. Tang Mingling expresses her relief for catching it early, noting that if this rift fully stabilized, the fallout would be catastrophic. Shen Ming asks what their next move is, and she decides they need to head back and wait for reinforcements. She promises to report his huge feat to the imperial court so he can get a fat reward. But despite her reassuring words, Shen Ming's system keeps screaming warnings of imminent danger. After returning to camp, a massive flying ship descends from the sky. 5 commanders and hundreds of elite warriors step out. One of the commanders, a burly giant of a man, remarks on how meticulously the traps around camp were set, while another elderly commander praises the soldiers' bravery, despite most of them not being trained fighters, noting the battle-hardened aura radiating from them. A female commander in purple robes scoffs, calling the traps cheap, useless tricks, and dismissing the regular soldiers as unworthy of attention. At that moment, Shen Ming's system reveals that the burly commander, He Yu, possesses a rare blue-grade talent, self-healing body, granting him insane vitality and regeneration that completely outclasses normal humans, making Shen Ming wish he had enough talent points to copy it. Tang Mingling welcomes the newly arrived commanders, informing them that the demon rift has already formed. She tells them to rest up, announcing they'll move out the next morning. But the purple-robed female commander stops her, saying she has something to settle. Tang Mingling asks if this is about her nephew Tang Minglong, making Shen Ming realize this woman is his aunt and definitely didn't come with good intentions. The aunt demands an explanation as to why her nephew is locked in a cage. Tang Mingling coldly replies, asking since when she ever needed to justify her actions to anyone. She reminds her that the military doesn't care about family ties, chewing her out for only caring about her nephew, and mockingly asking if her nephew is above military law. The aunt fumes with rage but composes herself and shifts her tone, accusing Tang Mingling of being biased against her own family for some outsider, warning it could hurt the morale of the investigation division men. Shen Ming realizes this woman is indeed Tang Minglong's aunt. Tang Mingling firmly fires back that there are no outsiders or relatives in the army. The aunt cuts in again, pointing straight at Shen Ming, calling him a convicted criminal and a nobody, accusing him of using dirty schemes to rob her nephew of his armed guard, and scamming him out of his life-saving pills, then demands why Tang Mingling is staying silent. Furious, Tang Mingling calls her by her full name, Zhu Rui, accusing her of being completely unreasonable and unjust. Zhu Rui asks if she even knows the full story, then snaps that she doesn't need to, laughing at the notion that her nephew could fall prey to the tricks of a lowly guard. At that moment, Shen Ming steps in, calling her auntie, and telling her she actually hit the nail right on the head, leaving her completely stunned. Shen Ming mockingly addresses Tang Minglong's aunt, calling her auntie, then explains that her idiot nephew bet him of his own free will, and after losing the first time, refused to admit defeat and insisted on losing yet again. Shen Ming adds that at first he thought welshing on debts was just Tang Minglong's personal quirk, but never expected such shamelessness to be a family heirloom. Fuming with rage, the aunt orders him to shut up. But he keeps going, exposing how her sore loser nephew took advantage of the battle to backstab his own comrades in arms. Shen Ming sarcastically asks if such a scumbag should be rewarded and held up as a role model, instead of being punished under imperial law. Enraged, the ant threatens to attack him, barking that he has a death wish. To which Shen Ming fires back that her nephew clearly learned how to attack comrades at the first sign of disagreement from her. Tang Mingling intervenes, stating that 4 Investigation Division commanders witnessed Tang Minglong's treason with their own eyes, and that this case can be escalated straight to the capital if needed. The commanders back her up. So the ant screams, accusing them of mutiny, trying to justify her nephew's actions by claiming he was just trying to save the day by sacrificing one grunt to save the majority, which doesn't count as betrayal. She then snidely adds that the life of a lowly grunt isn't worth a single finger of her nephew. Suddenly, a man in silver armor appears, mockingly asking if only her nephew's life matters while border soldiers' lives are completely worthless. He calls her out for her insolence and for disrespecting the border army. At that moment, every soldier, including Shen Ming and Tang Mingling, drops to their knees to salute the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. The Supreme Commander confronts the ant, repeating her insulting words about border soldiers, then strikes her with overwhelming force, knocking her flat to the ground. Shen Ming is amazed by the Supreme Commander's insane power, realizing he's way stronger than Tang Mingling. The commander asks Tang Mingling why her subordinate is acting out, and she apologizes, admitting her failure to manage her subordinates properly. Tang Mingling confronts the ant, asserting that the evidence against her nephew is rock solid, that she witnessed everything firsthand and won't let her distort the facts. She warns that if she keeps stirring up drama before the upcoming battle, she'll punish her for undermining military morale and execute the sentence on the spot. Left with no choice, the ant storms off in fury. Shen Ming thanks the Supreme Commander for stepping in, and the commander comments on the gravity of the border crisis, surprised to find himself here in person. The commander explains that the Dezing Empire signed a temporary truce with the Mubing Kingdom and troops have pulled back on both sides. Shen Ming deduces this is because of the Demon Rift, which the commander confirms, explaining that the threat endangers both empires alike. Afterward, the commander tells Shen Ming he heard he was the one who discovered the rift. So Shen Ming playfully asks if that means a promotion is in order. The commander laughs, promising that once the rift is sealed, he'll have the honor of an imperial audience and a handsome reward. Shen Ming is thrilled, realizing this could be his ticket to clearing his name and reclaiming his freedom. Meanwhile, the ant visits her nephew in prison, comforting him and calling Tang Mingling heartless. Tang Minglong pins all the blame on Shen Ming, begging his aunt to avenge him. She hands him a mysterious key, telling him that some types of revenge are best served by one's own hands. While Tang Minglong smirks, wickedly clutching the key. The entire army marches toward the Demon Rift the next day. Old Jiang stays on high alert, scanning their surroundings the entire way. Once they pitch camp near the rift, Jiang pulls Shen Ming aside to voice his deep concerns. He explains that the sudden swarm of rock fang beasts is an awful omen, signaling that the giant rock dragon could show up at any second. Jiang warns Shen Ming that if things go south tomorrow, he shouldn't risk his life and must bolt with him immediately. He stresses that taking on a Tier 8 beast is no joke. But Shen Ming reassures him, saying he knows what he's doing and felt intense danger all along the way as well. Suddenly, Jiang spots something weird on Shen Ming's neck. Shen Ming explains he's felt a strange itch there ever since spotting the rift. Worried he might have caught some kind of beast poison, and plans to see a military medic later, so Jiang tells him to stay cautious. When they arrive, Shen Ming catches his first look at the massive formation set up by the Seal Masters. Jiang tells him they're ridiculously strong, especially their leader Luo Wen, regarded as one of the finest Seal Masters in the Dezing Empire. Impressed by their power, Shen Ming wonders if sealing arts are hard to learn. Suddenly, Luo Wen appears before him, asking if he's interested in learning sealing arts. Shen Ming and Jiang salute him, and Luo Wen notes that despite Shen Ming's low cultivation, he managed to draw a heavy bow and hit targets with pinpoint precision, praising his freakish raw strength. Shen Ming thanks the master for the compliment. So Luo Wen asks again if he wants to learn sealing arts. Shen Ming replies he's just curious, asking if they could actually seal a Tier 8 beast if one showed up. Luo Wen admits he's never seen or read about such a thing before. but believes it's technically possible. Shen Ming asks for more info on the giant rock dragon. So Luo Wen hands him a rare ancient tome containing records on Tier 8 beasts, including the dragon. Warning him not to lose it, Shen Ming thanks him, swearing to protect the book with his life. After Jiang invites Luo Wen for drinks, Shen Ming passes on joining them, choosing to study the book instead. Shen Ming heads straight back to his tent, and the more he reads, the more convinced he becomes of his theory. He rushes to the command tent and warns He Yu and Tang Mingling that a giant rock dragon is sealed nearby and is about to break out. Zhu Rui cuts in mockingly, calling his claims total nonsense, asserting she's never heard of sealing a live beast, and accusing him of making up fairy tales for clout. Shen Ming fires back, asking if there's no sealed live beast, what on earth is inside the demon rift then? He Yu explains that a demon rift is simply a spatial portal to the dark realm created through spatial arts, which is completely different from directly sealing a living monster. Jiang chimes in that seal masters capable of doing that only existed in ancient times. But Shen Ming stands his ground, insisting he suspects this is an ancient sealed beast on the verge of breaking free. Zhu Rui mocks Shen Ming, asking if calling it ancient automatically makes it real. Tang Mingling tells her to shut it and asks Shen Ming to go on. Shen Ming explains he consulted Master Luo Wen last night and that the demon rift itself carries a massive sealing aura. He explains that when the rift manifests, it destabilizes everything sealed around it, accelerating the seal-breaking process. Luo Wen confirms this is true, concluding that the mysterious swarm of rock fang beasts is definitely no coincidence, raising his suspicions. Tang Mingling asks Shen Ming for proof backing his theory. But he hesitates, knowing he can't expose his talent system that's constantly spamming danger alerts. Zhu Rui jumps on the opening, accusing him of wasting everyone's time with zero evidence. But Tang Mingling cuts her off, announcing that as a precaution she will keep dispatching calls for reinforcements, stressing the need for extreme vigilance and full combat readiness. She declares her decision is final and non-negotiable. Zhu Rui storms out, swearing revenge against both Shen Ming and Tang Mingling. Over the next few days, the sealing process goes smoothly. But as time passes, the danger warnings from Shen Ming's system only grow louder. On the day the seal is set to be completed with the final catalyst, Shen Ming roars a warning of incoming danger. Suddenly, a colossal rock dragon beast bursts from beneath the earth, revealing itself to be a rare mutated Tier 8 beast, the Rift Rock Dragon. The commanders are dumbfounded, unable to believe Shen Ming's hunch was right all along. The Supreme Commander realizes that without their prior prep, they would have suffered devastating casualties. Tang Mingling orders all Investigation Division members to assist the Seal Masters in finishing the ritual, while she and the other 5 commanders take on the task of stalling the beast. Old Jiang grabs Shen Ming, trying to keep him out of this suicide mission, reminding him that this monster is way beyond anything they can handle. But Shen Ming reassures him he isn't that dumb, watching the terrifyingly destructive beast that looks like a walking natural disaster. Jiang knows they can't hold out for long. In the middle of the chaos, Shen Ming notices the giant beast heading straight for the sealing tower. Luo Wen shouts for everyone to stop it, realizing the monster is trying to speed up the rift's stabilization. Luo Wen tries to intercept it, but the beast swats him away in a single hit. Shen Ming orders old Jiang to retreat with the rest of the troops, promising to catch up. Shen Ming rushes over to the wounded Luo Wen, who begs him to finish the seal. He explains how to arrange the catalysts according to the blueprint, then forcefully imprints the sealing knowledge directly into his consciousness, telling him that once he meditates on the rune given to him, he'll begin inheriting the Seal Master's power. Luo Wen yells at Shen Ming to stop talking, telling him the jade pendant still has 1 charge left, urging him to hurry and seal the beast immediately. Meanwhile, the Rift Rock Dragon gathers dark energy for a devastating attack, with the rift on the verge of fully stabilizing at any second. Shen Ming realizes the gravity of the situation, casts aside all hesitation, and sprints at full speed toward the sealing array. Following Luo Wen's instructions, he begins reactivating the seal. But the Rift Rock Dragon won't let him finish that easily. The beast turns and charges straight for the sealing tower. Shen Ming screams for help from Commander Tang Mingling and the other commanders. Instantly, the commanders rush to intercept the beast's charge. buying Shen Ming enough time to finish the job. Shen Ming seizes the opening and finally activates the full seal. Just as the rift is about to close, an arrow streaks out of nowhere and strikes the ground right near Shen Ming. Shen Ming is caught off guard, only to find the shooter is Tang Minglong. Enraged, Shen Ming aims his arrow right back at him. But Tang Minglong dodges it before it connects. He mocks him, sneering that he isn't like those dumb beasts that get hit so easily. Then he lunges at Shen Ming, screaming, "Die!" Shen Ming realizes his opponent has peaked in the power realm, and letting him get close is guaranteed death. Tang Minglong laughs maniacally as he chases him, shouting for him to just accept death. He grabs him by the throat. But Shen Ming resolves that even if he goes down, he's taking him with him. Shen Ming refuses to yield and clashes with his assault. Mid-fight, the unstable seal begins collapsing, forming a black hole that swallows them both whole. Tang Minglong screams in terror, begging Shen Ming to let go. But Shen Ming holds on tight, declaring that since he came, he isn't leaving. Shen Ming wakes up in a strange, snow-covered wasteland. Realizing he, Tang Minglong, and Tang Mingling were all sucked into the black hole. A short distance away, he finds Tang Mingling lying on the ice, heavily injured. Tang Minglong approaches her, realizing she had been hiding her severe wounds this whole time. Tang Mingling curses him out as scum, deeply regretting not killing him when she had the chance. Tang Minglong laughs mockingly, telling her they're trapped in this subdimension and won't be returning anytime soon. Seeing that they're all alone, he reveals his vile intentions, telling her to submit to him. She screams a warning at him not to come any closer. But he admits that if it weren't for her injuries, he'd never dream of touching her, treating this disaster as his golden chance. Sensing Shen Ming's presence, he decides to capture him and make him watch while he violates her. Tang Mingling sinks into despair and helplessness. But at the last second, Shen Ming appears and shushes her. He whispers in her ear, asking if she can still move, and she barely nods. So he tells her their only option is to run, since they can't fight him in this state. After they make a break for it, Tang Minglong goes ballistic and smashes the ice with his fist, swearing to rip Shen Ming to shreds once he catches him. In a safe hideout, Shen Ming treats the wounded Tang Mingling, pulling out the 9 spirits blood pill he won earlier and reminding her he offered it before she turned it down. He pops the pill into her mouth to save her life. Tang Mingling is stunned by his gesture, softly thanking him. Shen Ming tells her it looks like they'll have to lay low here to recover for a while. And before their wounds fully heal, they must avoid being found by Tang Minglong at all costs. Tang Mingling boils with rage, swearing that even if she never makes it back, she'll butcher that scumbag for sure. Shen Ming asks if they really can't get back. She explains that breaking the seal of this pocket realm requires the power of a rank 2 seal master, but sadly neither of them is one. Suddenly Shen Ming remembers that right before getting sucked into the rift, Master Luo went past his seal onto him at the last second. Though he wasn't sure if it would actually help. Hope sparks in Tang Mingling's eyes as she tells him that with this seal, once his cultivation hits the power realm, they can break out. But Shen Ming dashes her hopes, explaining he doesn't have the entry manual for the soldier's body art, meaning even if he reaches the peak of the Qi realm, he won't be able to break through the bottleneck. Tang Mingling is stunned, asking why Commander Li didn't give him the manual when his cultivation was already so close to a breakthrough. Shen Ming defends himself, saying he hid his true strength out of fear of enemies lurking around. Tang Mingling scolds him, roasting him for still playing weak. Then she brainstorms a solution, suggesting he combine sword cultivation and body cultivation. When Shen Ming misunderstands dual cultivation, she snaps at him angrily and clarifies that she'll teach him the Grand Spirit Sword technique. She reassures him that with his insane talent he can break through the Qi realm in no time, which beats sitting around waiting to die. Shen Ming agrees on the spot, realizing this is the perfect chance to copy her sword spirit talent so that once he reaches the power realm, he won't fear Tang Minglong ever again. Tang Mingling decides to start teaching him right away. Over the following days, Shen Ming takes care of Tang Mingling. And while her health steadily recovers, her combat power hasn't returned yet. Meanwhile, thanks to his system and the beast-burying technique, Shen Ming's power grows day by day. Returning from training, he finds Tang Mingling waiting for him, warning him not to overwork himself and handing him some roasted meat. Shen Ming feels flustered, feeling like the scene resembles a husband coming home to his wife. While eating, he tells her he needs to boost his strength ASAP. Because he spotted human footprints while hunting beasts, fearing Tang Minglong is closing in on their hideout. Tang Mingling regrets being so weak, saying they wouldn't be in this mess otherwise. Shen Ming reassures her, stating he's literally one step away from breaking through to the power realm and just needs to use the beast burying technique a few more times. She tries to stop him, warning that the technique is crazy dangerous, saying there's no need to take risks when they can just relocate. But he refuses, reminding her of what Tang Minglong tried to do to her. Moved by his words, Tang Mingling hugs him in tears, thanking him for everything he's done for her. Tang Mingling tells Shen Ming he endured all this pain just to protect her, leaving Shen Ming surprised by her emotional reaction, and wondering why she became so soft and fragile after losing her cultivation. Suddenly, she passes out in his arms. At that exact moment, a system prompt flashes, notifying him of successfully copying the purple-grade sword spirit talent. Shen Ming is dumbfounded, unable to believe he scored such a broken talent so effortlessly, realizing his luck is insane. When Tang Mingling wakes up, she feels super embarrassed and pulls away immediately. Shen Ming tries to ease the mood, saying he's going out to train for a bit. As he trains, Tang Mingling notices he has already grasped sword intent, wondering if he truly is a freak genius capable of mastering both body and sword cultivation. Shen Ming has no idea what's going on, but as he practices the grand spirit sword art, he suddenly feels the sword spirit inside him, turning blood red and churning wildly through his veins. Tang Mingling realizes he's about to break through to the power realm, but his body can't handle the dual cultivation energy, triggering a dangerous backlash. Panic sets in as she doesn't know what to do, when suddenly a massive golden Buddha aura manifests behind Shen Ming, making her gasp in shock, recognizing the Ming King body talent. Shen Ming roars with immense power, unleashing an explosive shockwave that shatters the surrounding boulders. Once he settles down, Tang Mingling approaches and asks if he's alright, realizing he successfully broke through to the power realm. Shen Ming isn't entirely sure, only feeling an endless surge of energy in his body. She calls him a monster, unable to believe he combined sword and body cultivation, and reached the power realm in both so fast. Suddenly they hear Tang Minglong laughing, declaring he finally found them. Tang Minglong tells Shen Ming his luck has officially run out, but Shen Ming couldn't care less, seeing this as the perfect chance to test drive his new power. Tang Minglong mocks Shen Ming and asks about Tang Mingling. Shen Ming tells him to watch his mouth, adding that he took too long and made him lose patience waiting. Tang Minglong scoffs, calling him arrogant for a dead man walking. Shen Ming brushes him off, calling his words pure nonsense. Tang Minglong attacks, but is terrified to realize Shen Ming actually reached the power realm, screaming that it's impossible. Shen Ming tells him nothing is impossible and that he should just train harder if he's weak. Refusing to accept defeat, Tang Minglong insists his cultivation is still higher. Shen Ming dares him to prove it. After trading several blows, Tang Minglong realizes he can't keep up, wondering how on earth Shen Ming reached this level of strength, and decides to bolt immediately. Shen Ming mocks him and his desperate attempt to escape. But thanks to his stamina talent, Tang Minglong manages to reach a mysterious ice palace. However, he has completely burned through all his energy. Shen Ming knows this is his chance to finish him off. Tang Minglong begs for his life, reminding him of his noble lineage, but Shen Ming couldn't care less. Tang Minglong drops to his knees crying, begging to be spared. Shen Ming laughs in his face, asking if he expects him to leave him alive so he can keep plotting against him, then puts an end to him. Afterward, he finds Tang Mingling's storage pouch, which contains sealing materials that will be useful when they escape. He then heads toward the mysterious palace, wondering if this world has native inhabitants, as he touches a medallion hanging on the door. A sword strikes out of nowhere toward him. Shen Ming wonders who the attacker is, only to find Commander Yu standing before him. Commander Yu is surprised to see him, admitting he never expected Shen Ming to get sucked into this realm as well. Commander Yu explains that he was heavily wounded by the rock dragon and couldn't escape, then notices that Shen Ming landed a rare opportunity and broke through to the power realm. Shen Ming tells him it was pure luck, staying guarded since he doesn't know if Commander Yu is a friend or foe. He asks him if he knows a way out, and the commander reveals the badge on the door is the key, explaining that once it resonates with the tattoo on Shen Ming's back, they can unlock an exit passage. Shen Ming is caught off guard, having no clue he had a tattoo until he remembers that weird itch he felt days ago. The commander tells him he can take Tang Mingling and leave, shocking Shen Ming when he realizes the commander knows everything. The commander clarifies his injuries weren't as fatal as Tang Mingling's, and that he was aware of everything that went down. He reassures him that even if Shen Ming hadn't killed Tang Minglong, he would have taken care of that scumbag himself. Shen Ming thanks the commander, then asks why he isn't leaving with them. The commander hesitates for a second before deciding to spill his secret. As he keeps talking, Shen Ming finally pieces together the puzzle that puzzled him for so long. There really were two people named Yu Shaoyun in the camp. The real supreme commander is the Yu family's eldest son, while the man standing before him is just his loyal body double and servant. The two would swap places in the army, with the body double acting as the supreme commander at times and the real heir taking over at others. Shen Ming respects his choice, expressing gratitude for the care he received at camp and feeling sad that he might never see him again. The commander assures him destiny will bring them together again, praising Shen Ming's insane talent and promising his future will be legendary. He then hands him the manual for the soldier's body art, to help him break through to the skill realm once he hits the peak of the power realm. Shen Ming thanks him, and the commander advises him to stay sharp and leave the border camp ASAP, as the situation is chaotic and shady figures are plotting discord. After a while, once his newfound power fully stabilizes, Shen Ming unseals the portal and steps through the passage with Tang Mingling. But they immediately find themselves facing a purple tiger-like beast. Shen Ming draws his blade, telling Tang Mingling, who hasn't fully recovered, to stay close behind him. Then he lunges at the beast. Tang Mingling is floored since this monster's power rivals a rank 8 warrior, yet Shen Ming, having just broken into the power realm, one-shots it in a single clean slash. Suddenly, a group of soldiers carrying torches emerges before them, with their squad leader calling them out for having the guts to enter such a beast-infested zone. Shen Ming recognizes him right away. It's Wu Feng, who is completely blown away to see him alive. With Wu Feng's help, Shen Ming and Tang Mingling make it safely back to camp. There they learn that the Tier 8 beast that showed up 6 months ago was slain by an elite powerhouse. Wu Feng tells Shen Ming he has more news, but warns him to stay calm. Old Jiang has gone missing. Shen Ming is shocked and asks when that happened. Wu Feng tells him that after the two disappeared in Blade Valley, Old Jiang returned to camp but vanished shortly afterward. Knowing how tight they were, Commander Li dispatched men to search for him, but they found 0 traces. Shen Ming is heartbroken to hear this. So Tang Mingling comforts him, reminding him that Old Jiang is a beastly fighter and an elite officer of the Dragon Suppression Division. And as long as he didn't disappear in Blade Valley, he's unlikely to be in real danger and probably just went back to wrap up his mission. Shen Ming calms down a bit, hoping she's right. Wu Feng spots how close they're standing and teases them, but interrupts to tell Shen Ming that Supreme Commander Yu has summoned him. Shen Ming wonders to himself if he means the real commander. In the main command tent, Commander Li welcomes him warmly, praising his massive feat in sealing the Demon Rift and assuring him the Imperial Court's reward will be huge. The other commander backs him up, insisting he must be promoted within the border army immediately. The commanders completely ignore Tang Mingling's presence, ticking her off. Suddenly, an official named Yang Fubing walks in, declaring the Imperial Court will decide if Shen Ming deserves any reward, reminding everyone of Shen Ming's past crime of killing comrades, claiming he doesn't deserve a single reward. Tang Mingling snaps at him, calling him a clown, and questioning his authority to meddle in their business, warning him not to dare say another word. But he mocks her, pointing out she lost her cultivation and even gave her sword to Shen Ming, sneering that she has no right to talk. Tang Mingling flares up, declaring that even if her power is temporarily gone, her authority remains absolute, announcing she has already recruited Shen Ming into the investigation division and he'll be heading with her to Xuanzhou province soon, so they don't need to worry about him. Yang Fubing is completely dumbfounded by her words. At that moment, 2 figures appear at the tent entrance, a purple-haired woman and an old man, with the woman asking who gave Tang Mingling the authority to recruit Shen Ming into her division. Shen Ming is thrilled to see the old man is Jiang and that he didn't die, but Jiang tells him to shut it and listen to Lady Yu. Shen Ming's system reveals this lady possesses the heavenly genius talent, which boosts cultivation speed by 70x and comprehension by 10x, but cuts her lifespan in half. Shen Ming is shocked that such a life-draining talent even exists. Tang Mingling asks Lady Yu why she came. Lady Yu congratulates her on surviving, explaining she originally came for one mission but now has two. She then turns to Shen Ming, praising his merits and inviting him to join the Dragon Suppression Division. But she decides to shelve that for now and focus on her primary objective. Pointing directly at Yang Fubing, accusing him of treason and colluding with the enemy. Lady Yu announces the evidence against Yang Fubing is rock solid and orders his arrest. Realizing his cover is blown, Yang Fubing tries to bolt. But Shen Ming blocks his path. Yang Fubing threatens him with death and attacks. Shen Ming blocks it casually and knocks him flat to the ground. Yang Fubing can't believe Shen Ming's power has reached such heights. Commander Li notices Shen Ming use the Grand Spirit Sword technique. Realizing his strength matches a Power Realm warrior, all achieved within just 6 months. Yang Fubing deduces Tang Mingling taught him this technique, and seeing that she lost her cultivation, decides to grab her as a hostage to escape. Shen Ming screams a warning to Tang Mingling, but she easily parries the strike, knocking him and his lackeys down in a single blow. Shen Ming is shocked, realizing she had been hiding the fact that her cultivation was restored this whole time. She scolds him for being gullible, while Commander Li chuckles in the background. Lady Yu cuts them off, reminding them she isn't done with her job yet, telling Supreme Commander Yu not to make things difficult. She unveils an imperial decree charging Commander Yu with treason as well. After Commander Li verifies the decree's authenticity, Lady Yu orders both of them arrested and dragged off to prison, telling Shen Ming to stay put. Tang Mingling whispers a warning to him about Lady Yu. Lady Yu tells Shen Ming she knows all about his ties with old Jiang, and that the credit for gathering proof against the traitors goes to him. Shen Ming humbly thanks her, stating he was just doing his duty. She praises his modesty, affirming old Jiang didn't misjudge him, then compliments his mastery over the Grand Spirit Sword, asking if Tang Mingling taught him. Shen Ming explains he had to learn it to survive inside the subdimension. She jokingly remarks that Tang Mingling's sword is insanely precious, and yet she hasn't taken it back, teasingly wondering if she plans to take him as her husband. Lady Yu informs him that the imperial court granted him a full pardon and he is no longer a border convict, making Shen Ming thank her deeply. But giving him zero time to celebrate, she decides not to stall his recruitment into the Dragon Suppression Division. Shen Ming walks out of the tent relieved, heading straight to Tang Mingling, knowing she's aware of the fake commander's secret. She reassures him she won't tell a soul and wasn't deceiving him, just worried about him, but warns him about Lady Yu, claiming she always falsely accuses people. Shen Ming tells her he believes her, and since they're out of danger, it's time to return her sword. But she refuses, explaining that since he started practicing the Grand Spirit Sword art, he can't go around unarmed. She officially gifts him the sword, revealing its name is Yanji, and noticing him blushing, asks what's wrong. She playfully tells him that every time he draws the sword, he better remember she gave it to him, before blushing intensely herself and running off. Suddenly, old Jiang pops up at the tent entrance, startling her. Meanwhile, as everyone returns to camp and Zhu Rui scoffs at someone predicting ancient beasts, an imperial decree arrives, announcing the emperor wants to reward Shen Ming personally and that he must get ready to head to the capital for an audience. Shen Ming wonders how he'll go alone without knowing the way. Lady Yu assures him an escort will accompany him, adding that regardless of everything, he helped old Jiang gather proof against Yang Fubing. So the Dragon Suppression Division won't be stingy with rewards, asking what he wants. She tells him they'll grant any wish as long as he isn't plotting to assassinate the emperor. Shen Ming takes the chance, stating that even though